And what is up? Welcome back. It is Friday night, and you got the trifecta of the average boys today because we are joined also by my boy Brian and Trigger. What is up, my dudes?
What's
going on?
How's it been going, Trigger? How's it been going with life and everything?
Good, man. Good. I about a month ago I started at Dragon Warrior Noodle.
Very cool.
And I'm one of the bartenders over there. So anyone who ever, who happens to go by Dragon Warrior Noodle, please hit me up, ask for Trigger. That's how they call me over there. And yeah, man, I will serve up them awesome sake drinks.
Nice. Brian, for you, I don't know if you ever got to go with D when you were down here, but Dragon Warrior Noodles is like probably one of the only places that sells like an authentic ramen style kind of like setup.
Really?
Yeah. We got only a couple of shops down here, maybe like one or two. I know that.
So I know it's Ronin, Yasuke, and us.
Yeah. It's usually pretty much it's more in the sense of like it's like a high class thing. So a lot of like the restaurants make it, but it's like you got to kind of like dress up like you're getting ready for prom to go, right?
Oh shit.
Where where Dragon Warrior Noodles is a lot more like chilled, like it's more of like that kind of like casual, like walk in. You're walking.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I get kids who walk in.
Yeah,
I mean, like 5, 6.
Yeah, so you've been to the valley. It's a small spot. We don't got a lot of cool things yet. I don't even think we have any restaurants that cook with truffles yet.
Don't sell yourself short.
I was just talking about that the other day with someone. I forgot.
Bro, the coolest thing that like no shit. That I think the coolest thing that I have in the RGV is like the Black Panther mural. Yeah, that's like it.
Okay.
Nice.
I think the only thing that I've ever liked that was like kind of like badass was like those Brazilian, like the Brazilian restaurants that like cut your steak in front of you and they're like,
the Brazilian steak free, right? Yeah, the Brazilian. Yeah,
actually, like one or two of them here finally, and I was like, yeah, that's legit.
Well, Tejas de Brazil, which is at the mall, they have one in Vegas, and that's where this boxing promoter took me for my 21st birthday dinner. While I was over in Vegas with my dad, dude, it was expensive.
Shit, did you guys just hear about that shit that just happened with fucking John Jones?
What happened?
So he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, UFC Hall of Fame, last night.
Come on, man!
Congrats
only to get arrested for like domestic battery.
What?
Yeah, dude, way to go, John Jones, dude.
Get a break, man.
Dude, John Bones Jones.
Damn, man.
This fucking like guy, man. Every time you want to like congratulate him for something, he just turns around and just like fucks himself, bro.
The way I see it, I just think he just parties way too hard for all of us to keep up.
Dude, for real, bro.
That's the way I see it. He's driving his car, doing a bunch of cocaine. He doesn't just get in a normal car accident. He smashes into a pregnant lady, dude. He parties way harder than all of us, dude.
Yeah, he's like he makes Ozzy Osbourne look like a big pussy. Dude.
He's making Conor McGregor look new, man. Dude, you see all that stuff that happened with Conor McGregor at the gala and Machine Gun Kelly? Dude?
Yeah, dude.
Cool.
With his cane. With a cane.
Yeah, dude.
Cane.
So what actually happened?
So from what I've heard, because I actually kind of kept up with it, from what I heard is that it kind of was, dude. It was fucked. From what I heard is that like Connor wanted a picture with MGK, and MGK was like, nah, bro, fuck you. And so like he kind of like puts his hand out to like just get him away, and in doing so he spills his drink, and so when that happened, his security team jumped in and removed him. And by him I mean Connor. So Connor, not really understanding what was going on at the time, was like, what the fuck you then, punk? And Connor being Connor just flies off the handle.
And you want to know what the best part about that is? The best part about that whole thing
is that he fucking trashed through his drink. Like, it didn't even hit anything.
Not only that, but I'm checking to see where is Megan Fox. Like, she's standing
she was actually removed
right there. Yeah,
she was, and then they removed her first, and then they removed MGK.
So like, okay,
funny.
So from what I had heard,
too pretty for this.
I had heard that it was Connor who wanted to take a picture with Megan Fox.
Oh,
And then
Probably.
MGK was like, no, you can't have that shit.
that makes more sense.
Yeah, because I was like, it was very weird for like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. If I was
McGregor
Machine
is
Gun
not trying to
Kelly
take
and
no
Conor
picture.
McGregor was a fan of me, I'd be like, hell yeah, dude. I need all the backup I can get, man. Shit. With Eminem trying to kick his ass all the time for all of what the shit that he said about his daughter.
Bro, what
Man,
I
Machine
love
Gun
most.
Kelly is just, yeah, he's just a
I
wild
found
little
this
kid right now.
TikTok. I found this TikTok account, and it's and speaking of MGK and the whole M situation, dude, it was the funniest shit because apparently like Joe Budden went after Eminem
Okay.
and or like tried going after Eminem, and then M actually responded back, and like someone called him out, and they were like, "Hey, bro, like." So he said shit, but you know, you're just too much of a pussy to say anything back. Is that's what's up, or like, you know, are you actually gonna do something? And like Joe Budden's like, well, you know,
Is
that and the other.
Is it kind of weird, like that the rap game's gotten so much more drama-esque rather than guys actually doing shit?
It's always been like that.
Yeah, it has to
I mean,
go there.
in a
What do you want
way.
me to do?
I mean, because like drama back in the day with like Tupac and Biggie.
But see,
and all that-
yeah, but see, like,
Yeah, but
we
think
saw-
about with the Juggalos and Eminem.
but
you
I'm
know.
saying, where did it with the whole thing with like the Tupac and the Biggie thing? We saw how bad it gets. We don't want to go
Yeah.
there. We don't need that. So I'm
Yeah.
happy. Give me the fluff, funny shit that we can talk about and laugh at. Don't give me the.
I mean, but then again,
Yeah,
you
dude,
know,
just make it memeable. You know,
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
like,
just
just
make
make
it
it memeable.
yeah, just make it funny, and I'm
Yeah, I
all
mean,
for it.
the reason why I say that is because you know
Yeah,
it wasn't too long ago that we lost XX Extension, right? Extension, remember
Sure.
that guy?
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
died because I think it was he was shot by a local gang.
that was a setup. Yeah, that was a setup.
Yeah, that was like a setup, right?
Yeah.
But the reason why is because of the lifestyles that they were in prior or during when they got into the rap game, right? Because the rap game has a very
Can't fuck with it.
yeah come from the
Can't
streets.
fuck with it.
You know, it has its roots when it comes to that type of culture. But nowadays, with like a lot of these, I don't want to have to particularly say white rappers, but like a lot of them don't come from those urban areas. They come from the suburbs. So like their type of drama ends up being like what happened with Connor and MGK. I don't know, dude. I just don't see it happening into the game. You know what I mean?
That was.
I don't see that kind of shit happening into the game. You know what I mean? Like,
So-
or
so what
50
I-
Cent. Like,
so-
well, 50 Cent. Who's the one that 50 Cent's beefing with? Where like the dude bought a Ja Rule?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody, fucking
Everybody.
50 he owes 50 cents to everyone, man.
Yeah.
There was.
Well, I
who
mean,
was
look at Lil Peep, dude. You know, look at Lil Peep. Lil Peep
Peep.
died by getting bad Xannies that were laced with fentanyl, right?
Yeah.
And like that's how he died. And the people that were with him at that point or at that moment thought that he was just going through his regular trip. And then
Yeah,
he
and then he
fucking
died in the back of the
ODs
bus.
like 15 minutes later. And then, you know, people are literally on Snapchat like, oh, my God, dead, blah, blah, blah.
Oh yeah, they were
Like, bro,
roasting-
you're
do you remember that dude?
This dude dead?
Brian, do you remember that guy?
Your response?
Little Peep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar, but I also know that Mac Miller also died from a fentanyl.
Which one?
Mac Miller.
Mac Miller.
Oh, Mac 9. Yeah, it's just like
So yeah, the fentanyl situation is actually out of hand. We're losing comedians. We're losing just regular
yeah,
people.
they just
We're
had like a
losing-
group of comedians that died with a bunch of drug stuff, right?
Yeah, so it's all fentanyl related. So anybody that's listening, and I don't mean to sidetrack it, but anybody that's listening, just be careful with your
With
you
what you put in your
partaking.
body.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
be careful because you never know. And I know that there's, and actually I want to say one more thing. They do have fentanyl kits out there to test your drugs to make sure that you don't ingest fentanyl. That's just one thing I wanted to say out there. and
Oh,
you
I
can't.
thought you said kids.
no,
Yeah,
just
I was like,
just
Yeah, man, we
anybody-
have fentanyl kids, dude. They do
Yeah,
it for us,
kids.
and then they're
Kids.
like, "Oh
Kids.
man, I'm
No,
not gonna
kids.
die, dude. You're cool."
No
Oh,
kids.
fuck,
So
that's
so
good
if you
shit,
do,
man.
I'm not gonna judge anybody. I'm not gonna say don't do drugs. You know, you guys do whatever the fuck you want, but just be smart about it. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, man,
mean-
I can't pass judgment, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of things that I've done long before I ever
Exactly.
got to this show.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
Trigger's
it's-
done
it's-
some things.
Yeah,
Just be-
it's
just-
ridiculous, bro.
just be
I'm real straight
Ridiculous.
edge, dude.
Just
I'm
be
real
responsible.
straight edge.
Yeah,
But yeah,
man,
hey,
this
guys,
is like my early 20s bartending day, like the height of like my bartending career and shit. Now I'm just like, bro, just put me behind the bar, let me serve drinks, Let me go fucking home, dude. I got a wife at home. I got little doggies, and I got a fucking badass computer. Just leave me alone.
Very,
I
very
got
cool.
a badass.
What else happened this week? Oh, dude, we see Nick Diaz gonna get ready to fight Robbie Lawler, man. 17 years later. That is an interesting. Well, Nick Diaz, this is like his first fight back in the UFC.
In a
Fuck,
minute.
it's been years, man.
Yeah,
It's
dude, in a
been
minute.
years.
Dude,
So it's
who's
good-
the
it's
last
good to see him
person
come
that,
back.
yeah, who was the last person that Nick Diaz fought?
Who's your favorite Diaz?
Nate.
His
I'd
brother.
have to be Nick. Mine's Nick. Nate's funny. Nick's
That's why I like Nate, because
like
Nate's
Clint
just
Eastwood,
funny,
man.
dude.
He's like a Clint Eastwood.
I'm a Nate guy. I'm a Nate.
Yeah, like Nick's like he's got that cool, like, even when you look at him now, he's got that like mature essence to him. Where Nate's
Nate
still a
does
little bit
not
of that,
have.
like,
Yeah, he
Nate
does not
have that in the
does- yeah,
slightest.
He does
bro.
not have that quality whatsoever.
and
Negative.
not,
I
not
I love
only
it.
that,
I like that. I want that quality in my fighter, bro.
with what's been going on, like in the fighting world, with like this celebrity fighting shit that's been going on, the Jake Paul,
Bro,
his
it's
brother-
the
what's
his
his
last
brother?
fight, dude. His last fight was against Anderson Silva in 2015. In
Yeah,
6 years,
2015.
dude.
It was a while, man. It's been a while since he's fought. But with all this shit that's been going on with fights right now, like, I don't know. It was good to see Anderson Silva come back. Because watching Anderson Silva is like watching an actual martial artist, like, put his heart and soul out there. It's a different animal when you watch a guy like that that's super mature. Same thing with seeing GSP get this Hall of Fame. He was at the Hall of Fame. They were asking him some questions and stuff. Like, just watching him speak, like, those kind of guys you look at and they're like legends in the sport.
I will respect GSP long before I ever respect Anderson Silva. I think Anderson Silva is just a trash human being.
I mean, he's
Why?
done some
Questionable.
weird things. But he has changed
like
in the past.
his just demeanor. His demeanor is something
Oh, you
like
just don't like him. You don't like his
He
face.
Nah.
used to be
You don't
real
like his
rough to
face.
like, man.
Just say it, Trigger. If you don't like someone's face, just say it. I just don't like his
bro.
face.
If I say I don't like someone's face
I
and
just don't like
him
his
being
face.
him, that's gonna come off as racist, bro. And you, bro, and
No, it's not.
you got me
No, it's not.
fucked up. If
Sometimes-
you think my first 15 minutes back on my show, I'm gonna be
Cancel.
racist,
It's gonna get
you got
canceled
me
in the first
fucked up,
15
homie.
The thing is like, okay, so there was that time where Anderson Silva was on the very top sport of MMA. You can like or dislike whoever you want, like as a fighter, but no one ever wishes a broken shin on anybody, dude. Like,
That shit was
the guy
gnarly,
can
bro.
hate your guts.
That
He
shit
could have
was gnarly,
banged
bro.
your
That shit
wife,
was
your
gnarly.
mom, and your sister, and he breaks his leg, and you're gonna send him. I hope he get better, bro. Like, no one ever wants that on nobody. Like, that is the worst thing to happen. And the crazy thing is that kind of injury, you break your shit, and you can be back on your leg in like 6 weeks to a year. Like, if you look at what was that guy's fucking name? The kickboxer guy. I always fucking forget his name. The one that fought. What was? I mean, I can't remember. He's a big ass fucking kickboxing dude from Brazil. He's a Dutch kickboxer. Well, he broke his fucking shin, and he was back to running on a treadmill in like 6 weeks. Like, and I was like, this fucking guy, dude. Like, he's a fucking animal, man. He's a fucking
Cyborg.
machine. Breaks his leg and he's back to running. I mean, even Anderson Silva was back to walking. You look at Conor McGregor, he just like snapped his foot in the last fight. Hey, Danny. And yeah, he's already back to throwing bottles of shit at MGK and walking down. He was supposed to be on crutches or on a cane at that thing, and he was already
he was on a cane because he drops his cane.
Yeah.
He drops his
the
cane.
moment he saw
Listen,
some action coming,
I-
he's like, bro, this guy's wearing pearls on his face. He ain't gonna do shit.
Trigger, I know you're married, but I would just like to see certain people in a situation where they had a chance to get a picture with Megan Fox and what they would do and what they would react.
Bro, I swear to God,
I would've
man,
probably-
if
I
I
probably
got a
would've-
picture of
I
Megan
would
Fox,
have
dude,
thrown something more than my drink, bro. I'm getting that picture, bro.
Yeah,
I'm getting that picture.
I would have thrown the bodyguards that were trying to stop me. Man.
ass.
Yes, I'm getting something. I'm getting that picture.
Yo,
just
can you
lying. You're just
imagine
mad
if
because
like
she's
it
in
went
my
down in such a
DMs.
horrible? Can you imagine if it went down that way and like Connor just started dropping all the security guards?
Right?
The fucking just MGK just running and it's like a really bad murder movie.
I'm
Like,
throwing
just
more
running
punches
through all
than
the
all of
galas
your security
and-
guards combined.
If he would have caught him, dude, and then MGK would have been bleeding, like he would have
I
been
knock
like
out
one of
old
the
guys
cool
in pubs.
dresses that everybody
You
was.
think,
Everybody thought he
you
would've
think
been
I'm
trying to
afraid of your
point.
security?
I wonder if they would have thought it was fashion if he came in with like a black eye and like a bloody nose and shit like that. MGK. I wonder if they would have wrote it off as like a gala fashion.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I fuck with old MGK. Like, I'm talking like 2010 MGK. Like, now he's like going after Slipknot, and I'm like, bro,
I couldn't even tell you.
What
He's
the
having
fuck
trouble
is the
with
matter
cardio.
with
He's
you,
got
dude?
9 dudes, man.
yeah, he
That's
was like, man, you guys are 50 years old wearing masks. I'm like, bro, you have a black tongue. Shut the fuck up.
I don't know.
you
It's
fucking
just
weirdo.
been like a crazy week for all this fashion stuff that's been going on and all these weird like music guys. The other thing that I saw was I mean, on the good news, they found out. Well, not I mean, good news and bad news. I mean, the girl Gabby
Petito?
Patino, like they finally found her body. I mean, I wish they found her alive, but the dude's on the run now, right? Like
I think
apparently
so.
they said that there was a
Yeah,
sighting of him in Florida.
They can't find him apparently.
How do you guys feel about this? Is just a random question. It's really out of nowhere, but it's talked about. But them talking about it being that since she's like a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed female, that's why they're giving her so much attention.
I can't say that that's the reason, and and usually I would be the like one of the very first people to say like, oh yeah, 100%,
yeah.
that's the reason. But you also have to remember, dude, this lady had a fucking following.
Yeah.
She had a
that's what I was
she
gonna
was
say. I don't.
you had like thousands, tens of thousands of people on her social media platforms. This is like saying like if like you know, I'm not gonna say like if we went off and like we're like, oh, we're the average boys, right? You know, no, but if like one of our favorite fucking, you know, Instagrammers or YouTubers just dropped off the fucking map, no one's gonna say nothing. That's bullshit. Like if Young Rippa was just gone.
I love Young Rippa. Yeah, that would be weird.
Just
I mean,
gone, dude. You're gonna like, dude, this guy has a multi-million, you know, subscriber platform on YouTube. It's bullshit to think that like no, like the media isn't gonna give attention to something as large as his platform.
Yeah, Brian, your call too.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that sticks out to me is that she has a large following, and if that goes unnoticed, the outcry is going to be too much for any type of wherever like there's going to be an outcry for it, so you might as well make
it was really weird that I saw
that.
that being a part of the conversation earlier where a lot of
I'm not
people
even surprised that it is.
I didn't hear that though. Like I'm just
I
weird
I follow,
that you even heard that. Did you?
I follow some
Really?
Native American sites and Native American artists and stuff, and there was some, I guess, like some those like what are they called? Like when they're like, suggested articles, and there was a couple of them that were coming out where it was like, well, hundreds of indigenous women go missing, you know, in the year, no one bats an eye.
It's
but
true,
a blonde-haired white girl goes missing and the world goes crazy.
It's a great point.
And in my opinion, I was kind of like
Wind River. I mean, the movie Wind River is specifically to highlight
specifically
that
about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exact point.
And it's weird because like, yeah, like I think we all feel horrible when people go missing. It's not a day like that we don't all sometimes randomly see that wall at Walmart that has all the missing people reports. Like we all kind of know about that shit, and we know that people go missing, but you know, us as on the civilian side, like there's not really a lot that we can do in the sense of resources and actions. I mean, but it's like you guys said, like, I don't understand why like Vice and like all these other like weird media companies don't see the factor.
They need it for the
clickbait
idea
that
like
she
they
has
need
a
it.
following.
Yeah, but they also need it for the content, you know, and it's fucked up to say. It really is. You know, that it's fucked up to say that, but you know, it really is. Is that like what is my tagline? What is my headline?
What's it going to be? Like a clickbait?
Going to be so that I get the most amount of clicks. Like, oh, why is Gabby Petito getting so much attention? But you know, black women, Hispanic women, indigenous women, like no one bats an eye at that.
It's very
I mean,
weird,
if we
man.
look at the guy, you know, if we look at like the root of the thing, you know, Gabby, I mean, one of the biggest reasons, I mean, she's not like the only blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl that goes missing every fucking day that we bat an eye at. She just happens to have a very large following on social media that people are going to care about.
Not only that, like her channel is specifically dedicated, like the dude that she was dating, to traveling and updating people about their travels. So like when you have something like, if they have a schedule, like we talk about scheduling, you know, our episodes every Friday and how we want to build schedules on our shows and stuff. if you stop posting, like that's when people start asking questions.
So yeah, I think that's my whole point with, or my problem with this. Did the boyfriend, does he not have like a Netflix account, or does he not have like some type of
That's a
situation
good
where he's
point. That's a really good point.
watching all of these documentaries where you're gonna be the first person that we look for, bro? Like we're coming for you. You were on a
Yeah,
cross
man, and
country.
and it's fucked up, dude, because I've actually like had these conversations with my wife, right? Like if something like weird were to ever happen to her, like bro, I'm coming forward for like head and center, front and center, and be like, I didn't do shit.
Yeah,
I'm
like
right here. I
I
didn't do
think
shit.
it was very weird, and I think
I
I
ain't
know what you're
going
talking about. Like
nowhere.
the idea of him like coming back home
Yeah, like what do
and
you
being like, "Let me get my shit." Like I'm
like?
just gonna
What do
walk
you?
right back into my house and stuff.
That is mind boggling to me. I don't understand the
Like
thought process
okay,
of
so
that.
that's why I was talking to my friend Christella about this, and when we saw the thing, I was like, "Yeah, she's probably not dead. She probably like met up with another group, and this guy
You
did
thought
something, and
that?
she just bounced out." Yeah, I literally thought that this girl just like because there was a video of them arguing, and when the cop was talking to her, the girl admits that she hit him. Right, so I was kind of like, well, maybe in this relationship, it could be seen as both ways. I wasn't looking at any of them as being like abusive. I was just thinking that they were in a shit relationship. And
Okay.
then when she said she hit him and he didn't hit her back, I was kind of like, okay, cool. Like maybe he's not one of those dudes that's like a violent guy, but she can be a violent girl. You know, I've seen that before. It's very rare, but
That's fine, but you're not traveling across. I don't care what kind of relationship you have with your significant other, but you're not traveling across the country, leaving your significant other behind. Like like when he got home and they said that she was missing, I'm like, that's a pretty
well,
big distance for you to be traveling alone without your
well at
significant
the
other.
same time, like I'm a really big fan of like the tiny homes movement
Okay.
and like that one of like that van life shit. Like I've kind of like it's been a really long time. Actually, when I first started this podcast, I wanted it to be an on the road podcast. I
Okay.
wanted it to be where the average boys we take an RV and we actually drive around and we go meet
D.
people. What's up, D? How's it going?
It's good, brother.
Where we get to go drive around and we get to go like park in front of a Walmart and just talk to random people. Like I wanted it to be just an everyday podcast, like just everybody. We talk to everyone and we wanted to have a conversation with everyone in the world.
Can I just take this time out really quick? I just want to thank my brother D Vargas who just joined the chat. I love you, brother. We had a hell of a week. We're pulling through.
Oh yeah.
I honestly would not rather have another person to join or to start this venture with than you. So I love you, and I hope you're having a great night, man.
Yeah, D, our boy, D
Hell of a
Vargas.
week. Hell of a week.
Man, we got to talk about your podcast in a little bit too, man. I want to know about all that drama you guys talked about earlier.
Oh, I
But
loved it.
going back really quick, like the thing about it is, a lot of the people in that van life kind of like community are pretty tight knit, and that's why there was a little bit of me that was like, you know, on a positive nature. I wanted her to survive, and
Mhm.
I thought they had just got tired of each other's shit, and she just packed up because they were always going to campsites and the chances of them maybe running into another group that does what they do and that they know would be like, hey, you know what? Well, if you don't feel comfortable, we'll take you back home. And that's why he would have shown up at home and been like, whatever, I don't care. Like, I don't know where she is, whatever. Like, I thought it was like one of those like breakup argument situations because he showed up at home. That's what made it so weird.
I watched too many serial killer
Oh, dude,
documentaries and
yeah.
fucking
Like,
shit like
I
that,
mean,
dude. I was my head was already thinking it was like the worst was gonna happen.
yeah, I just didn't want it to happen that way, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's just sad.
as soon
It's
as
just
I
sad
heard
to
that
know.
she was missing, I was like, well, spoiler alert.
yeah.
She's dead.
Spoiler
That's
alert.
basically textbook fucking serious. Like that's basically textbook on how this shit works out, man.
Well, on a note onto that one, apparently someone today said that they spotted him in Florida.
Get his ass.
Yeah, get
Get
him,
his ass.
Florida. Wrong
Oh,
fucking
they'll get
state
him. Yeah,
to
I'm
get
about to say
lost
they'll get
in.
him. They'll get
Yeah,
him. They'll
fucking
get him.
Florida man's gonna
Don't
get
even
him.
worry about it. They'll get it. Florida man
All
will
right,
get him.
Brian. Before we go on with our conversation, let us know
Yo,
what happened with you and D and the podcast. So,
what are you talking about? Nothing happened.
well, I
Nah,
mean,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
yeah, I was
No,
like, yeah, man.
we definitely had a week from hell. If anybody that's listening don't know, me and my boy D Vargas, we are starting our own podcast. It is now going to be called the Gym Class Majors. podcast.
Heck yeah, man.
Originally it was supposed to be the We Got Time podcast. I don't even know if I should still be saying that out loud because I think I might get sued. But anyway, long story short, we had to change the name. It was already taken. So it kind of put me and D in a really weird spot. But we are, like you said, we are adapting and overcoming. We do, as you guys see, have a new name, and we will be live, if not next week, then the following week. But we are coming soon.
What times will you guys be doing your show at?
So we are going to be recording on Wednesday, hopefully dropping by Friday. So by the time you'll be seeing me here, you can also see
That
me.
episode will be up.
You can also see me with the episode up earlier in the day. Absolutely.
So kind of like on the call out, but what would the show be about?
So it's basically going to be mostly just like with the first half hour that we just did right now. It's going to be just like that. We're going to be going through all the current event stuff, and we're just going to be giving our opinions. The reason why we, since Steve's asking why we named it,
He's asking why you named it that.
why we named it that, it's because to be honest with you, it's just we really don't have a real reason why. It was one of the last names of the list that I compiled, and it sounded great. The gym class majors, I mean, it's basically the total opposite of what me and D are. We're not any jocks. We're not I'm not I'm pretty sure, but we didn't go to college. But everything, main reason, everything else, yes, honestly,
Everything else was taken.
everything else was taken. So we basically that's what it was.
Hilarious.
Everything else was taken, so we had to settle on that, and I like it. And we're coming at you quicker than you guys think.
Well, very,
yeah.
very cool, man. Well, congratulations on you guys opening up the show. I hope
Appreciate
it
it.
goes well. And man, dude, can't wait to hear your first episode.
Can't wait to finally fucking broadcast it.
Broadcast it.
It's been a while.
Excellent. Okay, well, guys, what do we got, man? So first news, things on Nerd News. What do we got? Let's see. Marvel's under fire. Boom. Ditko files lawsuit against Marvel for characters. Okay,
coming in hot.
This actually is something that just popped up. I mean, it's been going on for
relatively new,
a month, right?
I'm not even gonna say that it's been that long. I know that like they had been discussing that, but I think that the Steve Ditko estate is now moving forward with it. This goes in line with a lot of things that like old time artists and writers had to go through when they first created their IPs, or intellectual properties.
Mm-hmm.
And I was seeing several websites state that like Steve Ditko was like the creator of Spider-Man, Iron Man, and X amount of characters. And I'm like, hey man, he's not the only fucking person who created these characters. There were other people involved, just Stan Lee, so like the fact that Steve Ditko's estate is going specifically for those characters, to me, I think is just his family being a little bit selfish with like, oh, these are cash grabs and I want my take, which I mean, I get, but at the same time, I mean, I'm not seeing Stan Lee's estate do this. Granted, he only died a few years ago, but still, I'm not seeing his estate go for his intellectual properties.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard that the Steve Ditko tried to put a cease and desist on the Spider-Man franchise. That's why I said a month ago. That was like one of the first things that they tried to do in the first place. And this only happened like last month. And I think that's what kind of pushed it in the direction of them to try to file a lawsuit, because the Spider-Man franchise isn't slowing down
at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's because last week, I don't know, I got like a little bug in my room. Last week we heard about the weird I guess like theory / maybe spoiler that there's going to be some type of ending scene in the Spider-Man 3 movie or 4 movie or whatever it is, Spider-Man 3 Far From Home. And it's going to reveal that Venom is a part of a multiverse thing, and he's going to cross over into Spider-Man's world. I'm not a big fan of that, but it does kind of like make anew into the idea of how Venom became a part of the universe in the first place. Like where when they first introduced him, the black comic book or the black character of Spider-Man when he was black, like the suit was brought in Secret Wars, where he just got it as like a cool weapon, which didn't make sense because he himself.
Well, he brought it back from space, you know.
Well,
like,
no, but it came out originally.
Yeah, in 1984 through the
Wars, where he gets in that machine and it just makes his costume black, which is like, okay, cool. Like, what does it do? And it's like, because everybody gets like a special power when they get into that machine, and his suit just turned black.
Yeah,
so
and it was from space, and that's why people were like, "Oh, he brought it back from space."
Yeah,
and so like that's why, you know, like everyone says from space.
No.
So where's it from? Where's it from?
Space.
but he didn't get it. He didn't bring it back in Secret Wars from space. I know that there was a couple of comic books that came out after that were like that, but they ended up changing that story to be where.
Yeah, there's so many retcons when it comes to the
Jonah Jameson.
Yeah,
Jonah Jameson was on. He was an astronaut
and brought it back.
He's cool as fuck, I guess. And he went up in space to the moon, and the symbiotes latched onto him, and then it came back on a spaceship or whatnot. But and then later on, of course, it gets on to Spider-Man, and then Eddie Brock, and so forth. Then it became a thing where it even didn't it go back to Brock, or who was the guy that Agent Venom is the friend, right?
Flash Thompson.
That Flash Thompson, who like loses his legs in the war.
Yeah. And then he becomes like arguably the best, and then like goes back to Eddie Brock, and you know, like it just changes hands so many times. I mean, it even attached itself to Eddie's wife, and then, you know, like she kills herself later on, and I mean, it just becomes a fucking thing.
The story's crazy, man.
So who's the art or the creator of that storyline specifically? Do you guys know?
Okay, so the creator of Spider-Man himself is Stan Lee.
So yeah, Stan Lee.
Like Stan Lee, that's why Stan Lee is so adamant about like, you could do whatever you want with any character, but Spider-Man will always be this way. So like there was a while back where there were some people that were arguing that they wanted to have it to where Spider-Man could casually be into males, like he could be in the homosexual character, right? They wanted to be able to change him or have him like in a bi kind of nature, and Marvel wouldn't fold because apparently Stan Lee's like dying wish was like, just don't change Peter Parker.
Spider-Man, yeah,
don't change Spider-Man, don't change Peter Parker. Hence, when they wanted to create like a black Spider-Man, they had to do it through all. That's why they changed it that way. And there was a Peter Parker in that world, but he's killed off.
I find this lawsuit kind of interesting because I know for a fact that Marvel has been very meticulous and they've been very careful about the IP that they use and the storylines that they use, so that they don't run into this specific situation where they're going to.
That's why I say I feel that this is a very cash grabby situation from the Ditko estate.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're not going to get certain storylines that a lot of Marvel comic fans are going to accept, because they can't. It's not that they don't want to. It's because they can't, because then they have to pay these the people that are creating these storylines, and then they're going to have a situation. So I find this very interesting because they're doing everything to avoid these type of situations, but yet we're still here.
So my boy John in the comments asks, will you or did you already mention how Carnage and Toxic came around? So like it's very awkward because there was this comic book. So there was the Venom, of course, himself was a very popular character at the time. And he was getting a lot of like popularity. Everybody was talking about him. This was like right off of the heels of them bringing him into the Spider-Man comic, them doing all this stuff. But he came in as a major villain the first time. And Eddie Brock was like, you know, very typical to the way that dude played him in the movies, where he's like a big douchebag. But apparently, like, the symbiote multiplies the person's attitude or like their emotional stature. So with Eddie Brock, he just became this weird, douchey big guy. And the reason why Venom was built was because Eddie Brock looked like Brock Lesnar. In the comic book, he was this big dude. So like he wasn't like a skinny guy like the way the guy was in the movie, and then like turned bigger. He's not like Tom Hardy, or where Tom Hardy's like 5'7" and he's like 180 pounds, and then all of a sudden like the Venom suit takes over and he's like 8 feet tall, 480 pounds of just pure muscle dick. You know what I mean? Like, nah, just veiny and shit. Nah, it's very weird how the suit worked earlier in the comics, but it did deal with the idea that Cletus Cassidy was this. I think at the time Brock Lesnar was in jail. Brock Lesnar. Eddie Brock. He was in jail when he met Cletus Cassidy, right?
Yeah.
And Cletus Cassidy and him got in a fist fight, or they got in a fight, and I don't think he bit him or anything like that. I just can't remember.
No. So what actually? I mean, so what happens is like the way that like he gets his symbiote. Or is because Eddie is separated from Venom, right? The like Spider-Man finally gets the upper hand, separates Eddie from Venom. Eddie goes to jail, right? And they're cellmates, and Venom is like, well, I'm gonna break my guy up. So that's what he does. He breaks him out. And during that whole kerfuffle, he like jumps through the wall and fucking Kool-Aid Man's, oh yeah. Well, when that happens, like the bar scratches off a little bit of that symbiote. Well, because of like the whole kerfuffle, Cletus is cut. And during that time, he like reaches out to like go get Venom and like have him be like, oh, take me with you. Well, fucking little part just happens to like crawl inside of him. And his specific symbiote is attached to his bloodstream, not his blood skin.
Cells,
yeah. So it's attached to his blood, not his skin. That's like the biggest difference. Is that Venom is attached to Eddie's skin.
Yeah, that's what makes it such a crazy
opposed to Carnage, it's attached to his blood. So he could do anything he wants.
And I honestly think that in this new Venom movie, that's going to be explored as well.
It will, but I don't think in anywhere great a detail as it is in the comics.
Maybe not, but I think even in the trailer where they show Carnage escaping, basically the exact same scene that you're explaining, when he's escaping the prison and the guards are shooting, that Carnage is actually separating himself, or they're actually separating in.
I don't know if it's gonna
going through him,
because in the movie right now they've already kind of like, they still stick to the comic book a little bit, where they have Eddie Brock being a investigator or journalist, and he's going out to investigate Cletus Cassidy, who's like the serial killers apparently.
Okay.
And that's when he bites his finger and stuff like that. And apparently when he's on death row is when the symbiote like connects to him. Okay. But it's from the bite of the finger. It's kind of like they're showing it in the commercial.
And that's the thing. Like, there's another trailer out there, and I'm not sure if you like. I've seen it. So yes, he does. Matt Gargan at one point does.
Yeah.
Does end up getting the Venom symbiote, and that's the one that really eats people. Matt Gargan is the devourer, the
devourer, the scorpion.
You know, yeah. And so anyway, in the trailer, he's there, and like, Cletus is just egging him on, right? Egging him on. And so when he tries to bite him, like he bites him, and he notices that like something's different.
Yeah, he tastes his blood different.
Yeah, but Venom is like, fuck this guy, let's kill him, dude. Like, let's just eat this guy. So he like the Venom actually manifests out and hits him. And during that time, I think is actually when he gets a little piece of the Venom symbiote inside of him.
It's really weird. Like, it's just a weird concept on how they're. I mean, I guess it could be a cleaner version on how they could do it, because I think where they messed up right now is they made Venom such a hero in the first film. Like, first off, that character was supposed to be a villain at first. And I think
then they made him to an anti-hero. Like, he's just the Spider-Man Venom. Everybody just like Spider-Man Punisher, character. Yeah.
So I have a question.
Like that team up so much.
Really quick. So if they made him into an anti-hero and they're going to introduce him into the MCU, how? I'm just trying to figure out the dynamic they're going to try to have Spider-Man and Venom, because there's no clear villain in this.
So apparently there was a release recently where they leaked the trailer for the ending thing, and apparently like the multiverse when it opens up, like Venom sees Spider-Man, and apparently Venom just hates Spider-Man.
So just out of nowhere, he's no longer an anti-hero. He's a villain.
Well,
now.
like that in the trailer it makes him make it feel like Venom like has like a lot of animosity, like he wants to kill him. But to me it just doesn't make sense. If they write it that way, it's shitty writing.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Like,
tough. That's gonna be tough.
I very rarely agree with Chris and his like claims of shitty writing, but that I would agree with.
Yeah,
And what I think that they're probably going to end up doing is they're going to have a very loose association, a very I don't like you, but I will work with you if I absolutely need to.
Okay.
And it is just I don't fuck with you. I don't vibe with you. I don't fuck with you. We're never gonna grab beers later. Fuck yourself.
Okay, so what I think is gonna happen is at the ending of the Carnage movie, for them to come to an end, because there is a part in the film where Carnage is or in the trailer where he's being attacked by police officers, and they're shooting at him, and his stomach opens up.
I said, that's what I'm saying.
Means,
like that's going to be like, okay, go ahead.
Well, what that means is that pretty much the body of Cletus Cassidy's been destroyed. It's been destroyed it's been absorbed by the Carnage symbiote. He's still there, but he's not like, his body is a symbiote practically, like his atomic level. I think that Venom is going to absorb Carnage into himself, which is very similar to the way Maximum Carnage was, where he was a part of him to begin with. And then that's going to be the part that starts driving Venom crazy. So when he crosses over into the multiverse, then that crosses over Venom, Carnage, Cletus Cassidy, and Eddie Brock at the same time, with them only needing to do one character. Right? Okay. I mean, that kind of makes sense in the sense of how they can move those characters over. Because it wouldn't make sense if they move Venom by himself and then they move
I really
Carnage
hate to say it, but I have a feeling that Carnage is going to be a throwaway character.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, practically the first villain in the first film was Carnage also.
That would be a waste. You can't have Woody Harrelson.
This is also Sony that we're talking about.
I know. And I actually asked Chris not too long ago, does he have faith in Sony and doing this? He
I have
said
zero
no.
faith in Sony.
But you can't have an actor like Woody Harrelson just be a throwaway fucking character. But Woody
Harrelson is also not a franchise carrying character.
Yeah,
like carrying actor.
I don't know. You don't know that.
No,
we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. So
honestly, the only movie that he's ever franchised in, or the only franchise that he's ever been in, is what, Hunger Games?
Well, Zombieland, dude.
And Zombieland. That's a two-parter.
Zombieland was fantastic,
and he was fantastic in that.
Yeah. And that's because they're getting ready to hopefully make a new one. He's trying to push for another one.
Listen, I am a huge Woody Harrelson fan, so I'm keeping for him in anything. And if you
I am too. That man is absolute gold.
If you tell me that he's going to be a throwaway Carnage, Woody Harrelson and Carnage, and they're going to be a throwaway, I'm going to be pissed.
Okay,
I'm going to be upset.
I think Woody Harrelson's a good actor. I think he's great. He's done some great things, but I think for what Sony did is that he's too old of an actor to play Carnage
for X amount of years.
I think that was the first thing that I said where when I saw it originally in the Venom movie, that Woody Harrelson comes out at the end.
Jump classic.
White Man Can't Jump. Good call, Mario. When I saw him come out at the end of Venom, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke when they were going to bring him as Cletus Cassidy.
I thought great casting. I
did too, but very much like with what Chris said.
If you're a fan, I just think that Cletus Cassidy in the comic books should be kind of like maybe like mid-20s, close to 30.
Honestly, I think he's in his early 30s.
It would have been like Dexter's age.
Have you guys ever seen a movie, a little movie? It's not very popular. It's called Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Little movie.
That's not a little movie.
It's a little movie. It's a little movie. It's an easy.
Yeah.
So you're telling me,
speaking of Marvel characters,
so you're telling me that Woody Harrelson couldn't pull off at any age. You don't think he could pull off Cletus Cassidy?
Oh no!
After watching Natural Born Killers.
Have you ever seen Out of the Furnace? That actually is a little movie. And dude, he's perfect trailer trash.
Look. I mean,
Cletus Cassidy is the perfect trailer trash name.
Dude.
Yeah, well, but the thing is Cletus Cassidy in the comic books is a young guy. Same thing as Eddie Brock. Like they're all
still say
about
he's
the
in his
same
early
ages
30s.
as Peter. I mean, Peter Parker would be the youngest, but they're all around that ages of reporters. You can go back to check in comic books when Cletus Cassidy first came out, and he's not going to be anything older than 31.
Okay.
Like it's just that's the kind of way you would see that character. Can Woody Harrelson pull it off? Yeah, dude, he's an actor. I mean, it's his job to be able to pull off characters. You know what I mean? But it's just like,
you know what? I just don't like the way you're talking about him like this. Like I don't.
like
I don't
I'm a
like
big fan. I got to defend.
I don't like it. You got to put some respect on his name, bro. Can
I loved him in Zombieland.
Of course.
I think him playing with Dallas. What's his name in Texas? Tallahassee. I believe that was probably the better character out of The Walking Dead if they put him in it. Like I would have loved The Walking Dead if they had a guy like Tallahassee in it. Like he's just such a smooth character in the whole thing. But I just think it was a bad choice for the character for them to choose an older version of this character.
So if you had a choice, who would you
the guy from Dexter?
Really?
The guy from Dexter, yeah. I would have chosen to be Cletus Cassidy. If not him,
that's a great pick.
If not him, I would have chose the guy from Charlie's Angels. The one that played the gentleman. I'll check him out right now. Not the new Charlie's Angels, the old one.
Like the Cameron Diaz one?
I'll tell you right now. Charlie's Angels 2000 film. He's like a nice man. Crispin Glover. The thin man.
Oh, okay. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
But right now he's pretty older too, man. I'm not
I was gonna say, like, dude, I'm pretty sure that guy's about to hit 50.
I was gonna say, like, he's not a spring chicken either.
Yeah, Crispin Glover, like that guy. But if you look at him now, he's still fairly young looking too, man. Like
just because he is young looking, don't make that body young.
There's a lot of like, you know, I think he would play a really great character, Crispin Glover. Like I think he plays those characters very, very well. Yeah, even the guy that played Rorschach, dude, in Watchmen. Yeah. But that guy, of course, is an older gentleman too. Like, you know,
yet again, that guy I know in his 50s.
Yeah,
that guy. I mean, that guy's breakout role was in fucking Bad News Bears in the like late 70s.
Yeah, late 70s. I mean, because then you look at him in The Watchmen, and he played such an amazing role. And then right after that, it was Freddy Krueger, and nobody cared.
Yeah, you're stuck.
Yeah, he came out as Freddy Krueger, and no one gave a shit about it because he wasn't. I mean, the movie wasn't portrayed that well. But yeah, like I would prefer, like, I don't know. There's just something that I would be looking for in the sense of like that weird, sinister, long-nosed, kind of looking thinly guy that would probably be a really good Cletus Cassidy for me. Like, yeah, that would probably be Mel Gibson. Yeah, Mel Gibson. He's crazy as fuck. All 68 years of him. That would have been hilarious. But yeah, like I'm kind of, you know, a little up in the air, of course, about the Carnage film. Am I happy about what Steve Ditko's doing? Not really. I mean, right now we always talk about it, that it's a great time to be a comic fan because we're getting all these great films. And Sony already has a lot of difficulty making stories work. So for them to have the opportunity for them to use people like Iron Man and for them to use Doctor Strange and all these other characters in the franchise, like it's really good for them because it can make their movies a lot better if they're working alongside Disney writers and Kevin Feige a little bit more. But when they start to get all these outside sources coming in and telling them what they're going to do, that's what scares me. So can you imagine if they lose the rights to Iron Man and Doctor Strange? I doubt it because it happened to DC a while back too.
That would crush me.
Yeah, it would just be nuts, dude.
Well, I mean, you know, when you look at the whole DC situation, I think you're probably talking about the whole Batman situation and the Bill Finger thing. I mean, if you've ever seen that documentary, and it is fucking heartbreaking. Yeah. Heartbreaking. And fuck Bob Kane for doing what he did. That guy is an irredeemable, unforgivable piece of shit. Fuck
that was
him.
the culture back then, though. Like, and not just with comics, but just in business in general back then.
Yeah, they screwed over everybody.
Dude, but that guy was a scummy piece of shit, though, dude. For real. Like, nature or not, that's just fucked.
Yeah, it is.
Like that guy, like, you know, remade Batman into exactly who he is. Penguin, the Joker, all of his damn near his entire rogues gallery. He single-handedly created himself with inspiration from Bob Kane. That was it. And then for having Bob Kane do exactly what he did, and then just some investigative journalist, very much like what's going on now, to be like, hey, do you know what you're entitled to? And, maybe you should talk to DC. And then when DC was real scummy and being like, hey, here's like X amount of money, sign over your
rights
to these characters and all will be good. We're family, right? We're the DC family. And they were like, nah, just put his fucking name on there, and give him back exactly what he's owed. Not like give me money out of it. It was just put my fucking grandfather's name up there.
Yeah.
The person who should be getting
On
that
there.
credit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a difference between Steve Ditko not getting credit for Spider-Man or Iron Man or any one of these characters. If that was the case, and I found out that Stan Lee was as scummy as Bob Kane, that would be heartbreaking.
That'd be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But this isn't the case. The case is that Steve Ditko's estate is going after characters that are monumental cash grabs right now. $billion-dollar
but
cash grabs.
I don't think they're gonna have the money pits. They're not gonna have the pockets deep enough to beat them.
Fuck no.
I think
First and foremost, Steve Ditko died 4 years ago. 3 years ago. All right, he died in 2018. All right. Why now? You're going to tell me it took you 3 years to get together the legal channels to do this? Negative.
Yeah, it's the family. Nah, well, it is what it is. Staying on that subject of DC, Brian hit me up with this earlier this week, but have you guys seen the trailer for DC's Injustice?
Hell yeah.
That looks fantastic.
Gangster. Gangsters, but
fantastic. So, Injustice, just found out they're going to be getting a rated R setting for the film.
Yep.
What do you think that's going to do, and how far do you think they're going to go into the Injustice story?
Oh, hard as fuck.
Wait, before you guys answer, I want to get you guys' take on the Injustice storyline in general. What do you guys think of it?
It was beautiful.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah,
it's probably one of the best pieces. Would I recommend it for a film, a regular film like live action? Not right now.
Hell no. Don't cheapen it. You're gonna fuck it up.
The reason why I wouldn't recommend DC to do it right now is because they haven't established enough of their real world to get into a multiverse.
That animated sucks.
But animated though is perfect.
Animated. They can go all the way. Animated. Their animated films are on fire, man.
Oh yeah.
If DC knows anything, what it's doing is the animated films are always fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not have a lot of high expectations for the recent one, Apocalypse War or Dark War.
Yeah.
Dark Wars. And then for it to kind of like run it back all the way back to Flashpoint, where Superman goes up to Flash at the end and he's like, you know what you got to do, Barry? Like, look at us. We're all like half robots, like fucking.
Dude, I still haven't even seen it yet, and I still need to.
Like Superman's practically like almost committed suicide like twice. Like the world's all fucked up. Like everyone's dead, or you know what you got to do, Barry. And Barry's like, cool, got to run it back, and he just takes off and runs it back. I was kind of like, fuck, dude. They looped Flashpoint Paradox all the way through this whole entire franchise. They did a way better franchise Marvel Infinity Endgame style thing better than the movies could. The animated world did it with the Flashpoint Paradox TV show or movie. And I'm not talking about the live action. I'm talking about the cartoon Flashpoint Paradox. They did an amazing job because at the end of that film, Barry comes back and fixes the Flashpoint Paradox. And then this is all a continuation from the world he created after. So it's amazing what they've done with the animated series. The Life and Death of Superman was a great animation, and I encourage everyone in the world to watch the fuck out of that because they introduced all the characters. I thought it was great. There was also another one that they introduced, which was called Superman Man of Tomorrow, which isn't that far back, which is another introduction of Superman, a retelling of his origin story, where Martian Manhunter's actually around at the same time he is. It's good storytelling in the animation world. I know that there'll probably be some differences from the story to this because there's a part of me comic book wise that believes that the Injustice comic book line is very much like the Marvel zombie storyline. And I don't mean that in the sense of the story itself. I just mean as the pacing of the comic.
Okay.
Now, the way I'm going to say this is in the first comic book of Marvel Zombies, it is amazing until it gets to the cosmic shit. Once the cosmic shit happens, you could tell 100% the writers
stopped caring.
Well, not even stopped caring. I think they just wrote it as a one-off, but it got so much popularity that Marvel was like, hey guys, this made us a lot of money. Let's write more to it. And they were like, he ate Galactus. These guys are flying around the universe. What else do we write? Like there was a lot of things that you could tell after that. Like it got bonkers. And that's the thing about the Injustice storyline is when in the comic books, you can tell that the first arc of the story was the only thing that was written for that to work. And then it worked very fucking well. And DC in the last 10, 15 years has fluctuated in the sense of comic book prices and their sales and all this other stuff where Batman is kind of like the only thing that makes them money. So with the Injustice storyline, it put Batman against Superman and everybody cared again about all the characters where they care in that universe, but they don't care like in the regular universe. So no one's buying the regular comic books. They're buying the Injustice ones because they want to see Dick Grayson get his head fucking crushed in by his younger brother, Damian. They want to see Damian against Batman. They want to see Harley Quinn trying to date a 15-year-old Shazam. They want to see fucking Batman versus Superman. They want to see Huntress take fucking Valium or what's that one drug they make, the kryptonite drug, and fucking fight Superman until she has a heart attack. They want to see Superman kill the Green Arrow. Like there's a lot of things that happen in that film or in that comic book that in the first series, like in the first omnibus, it's hardcore. It's
so how much of that do you think we're gonna get in animation?
Not anywhere near as much as I think we are. We're probably gonna get. I can really see maybe them doing the entire first Injustice storyline because there's a second one where Brainiac comes and they release Superman to help, and then the old the new Justice League meets the old goes to the
past,
goes to the Injustice storyline, and Superman helps rein in the old Superman. It's I mean, granted, that's the way it was in the games.
Dude,
right?
there's even a whole arc dedicated to the magic users. And at the very end, Constantine brings in a world shaping, reality bending imp. And then they bring in Raven's dad. I don't know.
Trigon?
Not Etrigan. Was it Trigon, right? You know who Trigon is, right? Brian?
No.
You remember? Did you ever see Teen Titans the cartoon or no?
I did, yes.
He's the jewel that's in the daughter's head. The one when she gets a bunch of little eyes.
Yes.
Okay, that's her dad. He's literally a cosmic Satan in the DC universe. He's like the Galactus or the dark side version of Satan.
Okay.
He can literally go toe to toe punching Darkseid, which he does in that Dark Side War.
Yeah,
he does. Superman that. Possesses his body and takes over, and that's when Superman turns evil in that one. And all that dude cares about is destroying the world. And what's his name? Constantine brings out Trigon, to fight Mitchell-Middleplex, which is the weird
fifth dimension
imp that is always playing around with Superman. Which this dude's a reality bending character. He can change the entire world. He can change the entire galaxy if he wanted to. And they fight it out. And Constantine did it.
Stop him is to make him say his name backwards.
Yeah, that's the only thing you got to do. You got to make him say his name backwards. And the only reason why Constantine made this happen was he fucks over everyone because he's supposed to be working with Batman. He fucks over everyone just to take his daughter and himself out of the multiverse.
So let me ask you guys a question really quick. So being that, because the way that you guys are describing it, the Injustice comic storyline, it sounds fucking impeccable. It sounds great.
It is. It's fantastic.
Sounds fantastic.
It's wild. It's
So
wild as fuck.
do you guys have, I'm gonna ask you the same thing like I asked you about the Sony. Do you have faith in the DC animation department that
Yeah.
they can pull this off?
I
Yes.
think the first one. I think this is going to be a series, like a mini arc series, where the first one's going to end where Superman's arrested.
Okay.
Like that's where I think it's going to end, because that's kind of casually where the Injustice story ends. But like when he gets arrested, like at the end, you're going to see like Brainiacs coming, like the way Trigger was saying. And it's like, what the fuck is Batman going to do against Brainiac? Like a Brainiac is Superman's villain. Like he's part of his rogues.
I will give the DC animation department the benefit of the doubt, because they have been the bright spot in the DC
Yes.
universe in the past however long. So I will give them the benefit of the doubt. So I'm on board with you guys.
Yeah. So I 100%, I believe in the Injustice story. I think it's going to be great. The animation film, I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for it. Injustice is such a great storyline. If you guys get an opportunity, check it out in the comic books. You know, head up to your local comic book store, Kaboom Comics, pick up one. I don't know,
or
comic
play the
stores in
game.
your area.
Or
So
play the game. You're right.
yeah, or
play the
or
games.
play the fighting game that was made by Dark Realms, or what's the
I think
Mortal
it is Dark
Kombat?
Realms.
Netherrealms.
Netherrealms.
Yeah.
Close enough. On to the next one, and our biggest conversation of the day. This is gonna be fucking bonkers. I know we've been on for at least an hour already.
Yeah, about an hour.
We are going to we're gonna carry this conversation for a pretty long time. I ain't gonna lie.
This is gonna be great. I'm gonna let you guys have the floor, because this is gonna be great just to experience.
Well, I mean, we all got the opportunity to see most of them. So.
This is gonna be
Yeah,
great.
man.
This
is the first time in a minute that I've been on the show. I mean, I haven't been on the show in about a month.
This is gonna
And
be
then on
great.
top of that, this is the first time I've had the show where we've had more than two people, where it's just been more than me and
Yeah,
Chris.
it's just been me and Triggs. So,
you know what I feel like? I feel like I'm in like the comment section, but I'm actually like I'm not in the rafters anymore. Like I'm in the front row, and you guys can actually hear me and shit. This is fucking awesome.
Oh, dude, you're the best,
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and to kind of and I don't at all mean to like sidetrack, but to kind of sidetrack a little bit. You know, Chris on more than one occasion has had people being like, "Hey, man, you're crispy from the Average Boys." So no shit. I work with somebody who knows about this show and has brought friends to the restaurant. This is Trigger from the Average Boys. And I was like, what's up?
There
I
you
had
go.
one time, dude. I was at a GameStop, dude, and someone was like, "Crispy from the Average Boys." I was like,
Oh,
you fucking
shit.
stalking my Facebook or what? Calm down, dude. I don't know anybody that knows my show.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Hopefully, it'd be cool if it happened in Jersey to you, Brian. You gotta let us know if that ever fucking happens, man. We gotta know, man. We gotta know hardcore. But heading on into the next part of the conversation, I really need to talk about this because it's gonna be a great topic. Star Wars Visions was finally released on Disney Plus. It is an amalgamation of a bunch of recent animation studios from Japan, all over the world. I don't know if they're all just from Japan, but it's a Japanese animation telling of Star Wars stories, which can or cannot be canon. I don't really know how to say it.
That's my only problem.
They are just different retellings of the Star Wars story or different stories in the universe. First and foremost, I would like to get a casual rating from you both and people in the comments. If you want to leave a comment on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this series?
I'm going to go first because I'm probably the novice in like the Star Wars world compared to you guys. Although I'm well versed, like I can hang with you guys in a conversation about it. But as far as I'm concerned, that was the entire series from start to finish. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I only got to maybe like the 7th episode, but from what I've seen so far, I like it.
Awesome.
I'm extremely happy, and to be honest with you, I hope that it's not canon. Because I would like it even more if it wasn't. And I'm gonna give it as a rating from 1 to 10. I'd probably give it a 8. I'll give it an 8.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Okay, Triggs. Oh, okay. Well, let's do this. In the sense of stylization, in the sense of like the animation, and then of course in the story, what would you give them?
Well, before that, I want to touch on the music. The music for in every episode is a 10.
Nice.
That stuck out to me more than anything. The music is what actually got me into the stories and got me into the storylines. You only got about 15 to 18 minutes per episode. So
Yeah.
it's very quick. And the one thing that stood out to me more than anything was the music. The animation, it varied from episode to episode. Episode 1 is probably my favorite. The visuals on that was amazing. The second one was actually pretty good as well. There were some scenes that they were showing from Tatooine that looked fucking amazing as well. The animation I'll probably give that like around a 7. And then you know what else I want to rate on? I want to rate on the stories themselves, and I'll probably give that a 7 as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Triggs, what about you?
Honestly, man, I'm gonna give it a 9.
There it
9 out of 10.
is. Nice.
So the reason that I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, and this is, I know that they're not canon, and the reason that I feel that way is because of the very, very last tagline that you see after every single episode. Inspired by Star Wars, underline inspired, created by George Lucas. One, they're saying that they're inspired. All right, this is not a direct retelling. This isn't an amalgamation. This isn't a expansion or a spinoff. This is an inspiration. These are creators giving their spin to what they feel that could have happened, may have happened, would have liked to have seen happen within the Star Wars mythos in whatever shape and or form that they ended up giving it. Then they gave credit exactly where credit was due to George Lucas, his name, his estate, all of that. So you know what? Hats off to every one of those studios, Studio Trigger, being one of those, that gave, like I said, credit where credit was due. A lot of these were just beautiful. Some of these studios worked on animes that we've seen. Studio Trigger being one of them, worked on Gurren Lagann.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you can tell.
That art, you saw prevalent in, I think, my favorite yet craziest over the top episode was with the twins. When I saw that, I quite literally was like, "What?"
That one kind of lagged for me.
I can see why. Yeah. But for me, I was like, first and foremost, you guys are breathing in space.
Okay, so okay, all right. So for me, I was going to say I give it about an 8, and the only reason why I give it an 8 is because the lower part would probably be because of the storytelling aspect, but I would give it a high mark to like a 9 or a 10 for the stylization of each story itself.
Oh yeah, they were beautiful.
They were beautiful.
The art, the animation, and the music and everything was perfect.
On point.
It was perfect. It really reminded me, and it gave me a lot of great remembrance and memories of like when they did the Animatrix.
Yes.
But the difference between I saw this and the Animatrix was the Animatrix when the Wachowskis put it together, they were like, "Hey, we're going to give you the permission to do this, but it needs to be established that this is how the Matrix works. Like it needs to be close to the world." Where in this,
one, I mean, they were direct canon to the story.
Yeah,
that is direct lore canon.
Like for this one, I kind of feel like it's more in the sense like they were like, "Yo, you've seen Star Wars, go for it."
Exactly.
And they're kind of like, "Yeah," but I think then they ended up just watching the last 3 episodes of Star Wars, and they're like, "Yeah, it's got to be like this." Then
that's the coolest part about this whole thing.
The first one was probably the best one for me, right? And the reason why, but the only reason why the first one is the best one for me is because it's literally a retelling of the Seven Samurai. Yeah. The original telling of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai story. You have a samurai who's hired by a village that doesn't have a lot of money, or someone of a younger, like in this one, it's a child who can't really be in control of his people. So he probably hired the bandits, which is that little kid that comes out. That's the village king or whatever.
Elder,
the elder. Yeah. He hires a samurai who's a declared samurai that's a Ronin. And then he hires a bunch of different samurais that are a little bit more loose to fight a bunch of bandits who's stolen samurai armor. which is why all of the bandits that are there are wearing old stormtrooper armor. Like, so they're all little bits and pieces. Nobody's like a stormtrooper. They're all just dudes that are robbing a village. Very, very Kurosawa, very old school 50s,
Yeah, I mean,
60s samurai, Golden Cub and Son. It had a lot of samurai style to it, which is where George Lucas got inspired by the Jedi.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you know,
really
look
cool
at
to see that retelling.
it's I mean, very much like what you're saying. I mean, this looks very 70s esque, you know, Japanese samurai retelling of like a classic story, exactly like what you're saying. And you know, a lot of people were saying that exact comparison. They were like, what I found most beautiful with it was that, yeah, you know, George Lucas's main inspiration was the samurai culture and the Japanese culture. You know, I mean, look at Darth Vader's helmet. It was directly referenced to Japanese style armors and their helmets.
I think
and
that one, and I want to say like the Ninth Samurai.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was another one where it was the two samurai. One of them was like Obi-Wan, and he had a younger Padawan, and they had to fight that old elderly Sith guy.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the only other one that I kind of was like, wow, this one's really good. The twins one was very cool because it was by the company that made Promare.
Yeah, Promare. Yeah,
Promare, which is just
and Gurren Lagann. I love
about
Gurren Lagann.
fucking firefighters, or like, yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. It's a really weird anime, but the art is like super out there, which was what this was about.
Or Kill la Kill. I want to say the, you know, Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, Brian, I'm not really sure if you watch any anime or if you know which ones we're talking about. You watch anime, Brian, or no?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so these animes, the ones that this company makes, are very like, they're fast paced. They're super like, just, they're constantly doing some shit where the character moves at like 100 miles an hour all the time.
And it's badass.
And that's the one that I think it was episode 3, the twins, where the chick does the 6 lightsabers.
Yeah.
Which, when that part came out, I lost it, and I lost all respect for that one, because that reminded me of that meme video where the guy pulls a lightsaber out in the forest and it turns into like a trident, and then it gets all the different lightsabers. That when that happened, I was like, this is bonkers. And then it turned into who's got a bigger lightsaber.
Oh, this is the first time you meet Chris jaded.
Yeah.
No. This is more like I'm gradually getting to it. Like honestly, I didn't like the episode. I thought it went on too long, but but again, I don't have that to reference it. But like, it was cool. I think it just went on. It seemed more than like 18 minutes. It seemed longer than that to me.
That was like the episode that made the least sense out of the whole movie.
That's why I loved it so much, dude. I was like, what? First and foremost, you guys are breathing in space. Second,
he won't let that go. Trigger won't let that go.
A fucking
he won't let it go.
No, that was my biggest thing too, man. He was breathing.
There's another ship, and a fucking guy with a lightsaber cuts an entire Star Destroyer in half.
No, that's why I said it turned into like a who's got a bigger dick competition. The chick pulls out 6 lightsabers. This dude's like, well, my lightsaber's bigger and girthier.
Yeah, dude,
like I'll stop that.
I every fucking
look, and the reason why it's very important to say that the breathing part was confusing was because at the very last scene of the thing, the android, the robot, comes out to get the girl, and he's wearing a fucking helmet on.
I was like,
I lost my shit when I saw that. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Yeah, like I was already episode 2 with the band. I was already like, what the fuck is this, dude?
Nah, watch him out. That episode was amazing. I love.
Did you like the second one with the band?
I loved it, yo.
What I love most is that they have every classic anime dance in that, and it's the same one. It's always
That's so great, dude.
That was them, and I loved it. They were like,
I think,
you give me anything with Boba Fett and Jabba the Hutt, I'm popping, dude.
I think seeing a little teenage version of Boba Fett looking kind of drawing, was really cool.
Yeah, I
The
liked
music
it.
was
I liked it.
super lame. The lyrics of the song were lame.
Of course,
Like
it
they didn't
was.
even like they didn't even
Of
flow
course they
right.
can.
Like it reminded me of like
I loved it.
me and
I
my friend
loved
were
it.
saying that it reminded us of Simple Plan. Like like we were just like, what the fuck is
I
this?
loved it.
But you know what's really funny is a while back I hosted an episode of the Average Boys with RJ Mitty from Breaking Bad. And we did a
Okay.
big Star Wars episode. It was right before Trigger. And
Yeah.
we had a question that was like, if you had the opportunity to write a story, what would it be about? And Fredward had the coolest one. He said he
Look at the
wanted to
Cantina
see
band.
a Rockstar episode, like the movie Rockstar with Marky Mark. You remember that movie?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
love
He
that
wanted
movie.
to see that, but
Love
about
that
the
movie.
the Cantina band, where like it was a movie about them becoming famous and then getting into drugs and failing and then going back to playing in local bands or like local shows.
Mhm.
And like that local show that they're playing is where like Obi-Wan cuts the dude's hand off. And then like that's where like their movie ends. And it would have been fucking hilarious if like they just came back from like all of them using drugs and 3 members dying of drug abuse and rape and all this. Like it would have been the craziest rock and roll movie of like space. Like that would have been the
I would
greatest
have
thing.
watched
And
the fuck out of that movie, dude.
and so we kind of got a casual rock star, like, you know, the Huts sponsoring a little like a indie rock band.
How do you not like that one? That
I mean,
was
it's
so
okay.
that was
So
so great. I love that.
it's
episode.
cute. That was
It's
a really
cute.
cute
It's
one.
cute. It's cute. I loved it.
But I mean, most of the thing is the problem with me is so the twins episode. There's already a lot of people who are still confused on what the sense of they're going to do with Star Wars. And Visions, I thought it was going to be like the Animatrix,
Nah,
where
I
it was
knew it
going
wasn't
to
going
be
to be.
like a bunch of tellings of stories that are canon to the universe because we need that little taste of something in between. They gave us The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian was
Awesome.
by far better than the last 3 Star Wars films.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Together.
they were
together.
amazing.
Awesome. It was awesome.
But there was something about this that I was kind of like fuck yeah, cool. We're getting a telling. Yeah, we had if you go back to the Animatrix, one of the first episodes was a samurai telling. So I was really excited for it to be casually the same way. But the thing is in the Animatrix, there is a history that it delves into telling you different parts. And there were some stuff, but by the time the Pro-Amer episode came out, the twins, when I saw the breathing thing in space and then I saw him hit hyperspace standing on a spaceship, and I was kind of like, I can't do this, guys. I really can't. Like I'm trying to draw and do some art and do some stuff. Like I can't do this right now, guys. I really can't.
It's
Like,
very
Jaded,
interesting.
bro. This is
Yeah,
this is my boy,
Yo,
dude. Chris
yo.
Jaded.
I want to touch on something. You did touch on the Mandalorian. Did you guys hear that there are rumors that Gina Carano might be coming back?
Oh
wouldn't-
yeah.
I expect it.
I
at this
kind of
point.
hope that she comes back. I mean,
Yeah.
she did make some comments, but the thing is a lot of people have made comments in their own ways.
Yeah.
But since they're sitting on the wrong part of where everybody likes to hear and not like to hear, you know, different results happen to different people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you know what? Everybody should be held accountable. Everybody should be held accountable. And that needs to be across the board. And if they can't do it to other people, they shouldn't do it to just one and isolate. Gina Carano has worked her ass off as a female, strong, independent female to get where she's at. She's taking punches and kicks for people to realize that she has some kind of talent that they brought her into the film world.
So I spoke to Chris about this, you know, not only in private but on the show, and I've spoken about this many times, and not just about PC culture or cancel culture, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But mostly being mindful and careful about the platform that you hold and you use.
Mm-hmm.
She's well aware of that platform and uses it in whatever way that she chooses to use it, right? Whether we agree that it's good or not, or right or wrong, you know, that's
for a different discussion.
That's like you said, a different discussion. But the fact of the matter is, and this is something that I pointed out to Chris, and I had to kind of come to grips with myself, because, you know, in a very, very, very small sense of the term, me, you, Chris, we are influencers, right? We're here every week, spilling our guts about nerd fandom and talking about it, discussing, reviewing, theorizing. But in between that, we shoot the shit, we bullshit, we say things. If I come out on my show and very much like the first 15 minutes, right? It's like, man, if you don't like his face, just say it, that sort of shit.
Yeah.
I can't exactly be like, well, I don't like Anderson Silva because he's the people who know me, the people who watch this show, I mean, they would more than be right to flame me for that and roast my ass for that.
Yeah.
And cancel me. Well, rightfully so because of that.
Okay.
I have a platform. I'm mindful of my platform and my role in my platform to know that there are certain things that I should say to bring awareness using my platform. But at the same time, I'm also needing to be mindful of how I say and what I say while using my platform. She used her platform to bring awareness about, kids and, kids down here and them still being in cages and things like that. But her comparisons while doing that were very distasteful.
Very,
very, very distasteful. I don't agree with them. She's not Hispanic. She doesn't live down here. She doesn't experience these things. Kind of outside your wheelhouse. I'm not saying stay in your lane or anything like that. I'm saying like, hey, if you're going to talk, then you need to come down here and experience exactly what the fuck it is you're trying to talk about. Pedro Pascal, on the other hand, he's Venezuelan. He understands exactly what's going on. That's a completely different, conversation. He uses his platform and he says exactly what he's saying. I guarantee you he's going to say things a little bit more mindful of it, saying like, hey, this isn't right for XYZ reasons. She said this isn't right for XYZ reasons, but her XYZ reasons are a little over the top. Kind of need to bring things down because we have, like I said, we have to be mindful as people who are on the internet week after week after week after week with people who watch us week after week after week after week, essentially ingesting what we have to say.
And I honestly think that's a great point. Like that whole thing was great. But I just want to piggyback off of that, and not just only that, because people get canceled for anything.
Oh yeah, true.
They get canceled for anything, and cancel culture is something that I'm actually tired of. But just like I said, to piggyback off of what you said, not only that, but not only do you have a responsibility to watch what you say because you're an influencer or whatever, but you are also an employee of Disney. Like, you have to be mindful of that. No matter what you
very
think,
much so.
Like, no matter what you think or what your beliefs are, you have to understand that you are an employee for Disney, who is probably the most wholesome, and I put that in quotations, wholesome brand in the world. So you have to be mindful of what you're saying and when you're saying it and how you're saying it. You have to be very careful on how you want to convey or say whatever it is that's on your mind without getting fired. She had a show on the table, her own standalone show on the table. Like, you have to be mindful. You have to be mindful.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that the cancel culture situation that's going on right now is
out of hand.
It's very thin line, but sometimes it doesn't even matter what you say. It's how you carry yourself, but how you portray yourself to be in the public eye on what you sit on in the sense of like your political views and stuff.
Just don't throw the bag away over the shit, bro. Just like, well, I mean, not worth it. Don't throw the bag.
Look at the way it is right now with Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, Chris Pratt is casually, in a way, getting canceled because of his views on, the way he carries himself in his Christianity and his, and all this stuff with the Mario situation. Everybody's saying that everybody else is a great character and a great role, but Chris Pratt is a shitty choice for Mario. Now, I hate Chris fucking, what's his name? Jack Black. I think Jack Black can I think he can eat an ass, man, of all I care.
You guys hate him?
I don't like him very much.
I don't hate Jack Black, but I think Jack Black is not as funny as people think he is.
Yeah, it's
Like
he's kind of
his
like
last funny role, and even then I've grown out of it, was School of Rock. And I can recite that movie
yeah, School of Rock.
front and back. I love that movie.
For
But
me,
I'm
it's
also
one of
not
those
going to
things-
be like Jack Black is the fucking funniest thing to ever walk on two legs.
Yeah, that's the same thing with that dude that played Elf. What's his name? Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. Watch
Will
him
Ferrell.
out. Watch him
Well, Will
out.
Ferrell is a really good physical comedian, but not a real good comedian.
Yeah, if you
That's
put
like
it
Jim
on
Carrey-
stand up,
Jim
he's
Carrey's
gonna
like-
choke.
Oh, but
Jim
see, like I
Carrey's
don't want to see
probably-
him on stand up. Don't. I'm not. I would never buy a ticket to see Will Ferrell on stand up. I'm gonna
Oh
pay.
fuck no!
I'll pay the $20 to see him in a fucking old school though.
But then that's the reason why when I see Jack Black like out of an acting role, being like himself, I find him to be fucking annoying.
Yeah,
Like I don't know if you ever see those videos of him like where he's with his kid on TikTok and he's doing like
and I'm
and
like, bro,
the
you're
internet-
not that person. I
Yeah,
know you're not.
the internet just goes wild and claims him to be like one of the most funniest dudes, and I just fucking find him annoying.
Yeah,
But
and like I said, this is one of the
I
very
loved
few
him.
times. This is one of the very few times I agree with Chris wholeheartedly. Usually, I'm like, bro, this
So
guy's
you guys
Chris
are-
jaded, bro.
So you guys are united on your Jack Black hate. All right.
No, it's not that
Noted.
it's not that I hate him.
No, it's fine.
It's just
You
that
guys
I
hate his
think this
face.
guy's fake as fuck,
You
dude.
guys hate his face. No, it's cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, 'cause he's white.
I'll fucking say I hate his face. I'll say that shit straight up, man. That dude played a Mexican and he's not even Mexican, man. He played
forgot
Nacho
about
Libre,
that.
man.
Alright,
Get
so
that
that's
shit
what it is.
canceled, man.
Trigger. We got to the source of we got to the root of the problem.
Man, it
That
only
is
took you
it.
an hour and
That's
a
it.
half to make me
That's
racist,
it.
huh?
That's it.
For me,
There
it's
it
one of those,
is.
like
That's it.
Cancel trigger.
for
Hashtag
what
trigger
it's
cancel.
worth,
Now
for
we
what it's
understand
worth,
why.
I think Jack Black does well when he plays an almost serious role.
Okay.
You know, when he was in Kong, he did good. King Kong, he did very well. He played like this really like conniving,
Video
backstabbing
maker.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when he did was it Jumanji?
No.
Was that the
Gulliver's
one where he
Travels.
did
Well, yes,
with-
yes, he did do Jumanji.
with the
He was
Rock and all
actually
that
kind
stuff?
of he was actually
was
kind of
funny.
funny in that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
funny because he had to play a female role as a
And
dude,
he was so fucking good, dude.
and he
Like,
was funny. He was funny.
Yeah.
He really played the role very well. But yeah, like the last movie that I really thought he was anything great in would have to be a School of Rock. School of Rock was probably like his pinnacle. Tenacious D was funny, but I feel like that's more
Very
like a Jay and
lackluster.
Silent Bob
I
kind of
was-
like those guys would have killed a Tenacious D style movie.
I actually went to a Tenacious D concert, bro.
No,
It was-
he's great. He's
it was fucking
an
amazing.
awesome musician. The dude is a musician.
yeah,
and his voice
Kyle
is great,
Gass, I
too.
think, kind of really just holds Tenacious D up there.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
That's why you like him. That's why you like him so much because you went to the concert.
Right?
Yeah, man, I like Papa Roach
I
and
got
Yeah,
No,
I
but, like,
think,
straight-
I
straight
think
up, like-
Nickelback is the greatest thing to happen to rock and roll.
I wouldn't go
to
that
Nickelback
far.
once.
I
They're
don't
awesome,
think
bro.
I
Don't
don't
ever
think
say
I would
that.
ever go that
Uh,
far.
Him, okay, so him as Bowser, I'm down. I'm down to check it out.
I'm down.
Like,
I'm totally down. 1,000%.
yeah, like I'm just excited to know that we've gotten to a point, and I'm still alive, that we're about to get an animated Mario Brothers movie.
You guys weren't satisfied with that 90s Mario's movie?
Oh,
With
I mean, yeah,
hell
With John
yeah.
Leguizamo?
That's
Yeah.
Leguizamo?
If they would have done that like a post-apocalyptic movie, like super crazy, I would have been down, man. I'd have been super crazed out by it. If they would have made it like, oh man, Mario,
That
He's a
movie
fucking-
is so bad.
John
but it's
Wick,
so
dude.
good.
but like straight up, like we're about to finally get an animated film of Mario Brothers, which should have been done a long time ago. But now it's because, and I said this a while back on our show. It's because I think they're gonna make a Smash Brothers movie.
Get the fuck out of here.
I really do, dude. It just so happens that they got Sonic, right? Sonic's all
Sonic's
done. They're
out,
gonna
yep.
bring in Tails and maybe Knuckles, and the actors behind it are big. And now they're doing Mario's, and it just so happens that Donkey Kong's in the film. Why would Donkey Kong be in a Mario Brothers film other than that he's the villain, right?
He's the original villain.
He's the original villain. But over the last couple of years, we all know Donkey Kong isn't the villain. You know what I mean? He's the Venom to Mario.
True.
He is Spider-Man's to Venom, Venom to Spider-Man.
I like how you
And then
decided
sooner or
on
later
Batman.
they'll do the Carnage when they bring out, I don't know who Croc, or I don't know who their villain is, but I really think they're gonna bring out a Smash Brothers movie, which would be fucking fantastic.
That would be great.
That would be
great.
super dope because we'll get a Mega Man, we'll get all those characters
Hell
amalgamated into one big show. But straight up, I think that the I don't know, man. This Star Wars film, the Visions, I think it's cool as like an appetizer to what we've been lacking in the Star Wars community.
All right, so I wanted to touch on this as well, and I talked to you before we hopped on. I want to get you guys' thoughts on the state of Star Wars and where it's heading, and Kathleen Kennedy's vision of Star Wars, and if you have faith in Kathleen Kennedy, or do you think the saving grace is what's the Happy from fucking
John Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Yeah. Do you guys have faith in them assisting Kathleen Kennedy?
For what's his name? Happy Hogan, I do. Like the guy that plays Happy Hogan, right?
John Favreau, yeah.
John
Favreau. I
Favreau.
forgot his name.
John Favreau.
Kathleen Kennedy, I do not see a lot of faith in. I think that her and her ideals on what she did with the 3 franchises that just came out were very hurtful for the Star Wars story itself. Do I feel like we can go off and make an entire new story without it being about the Skywalkers? Yes. But literally leave the Skywalker story and create something new. You know what I mean? Like, don't make it just strictly about them. But the thing is the Skywalker storyline needs a finale. And what they gave in the last 3 movies for the Skywalker finale was horrific.
What if they can't? What if they can't deliver it to you? What if they just don't have it?
Well, they didn't deliver it, so we're already in that. We're already in the answer of that question.
So, like, at some point, it's like, stop digging a ditch. Like, just.
Well, the thing is what built the Star Wars story was the franchise, the people that built it, the fans that made it happen.
Okay.
Right. So, for them to create movies at the end and say, well, it's not about you, it's not for you. Like, it's not for you. It's for the guy who's making the movie that wants to make us a vision.
Okay.
It's hurtful to the people that built it into something big. It could have been given to Star Trek, could have been given to Stargate. It could have been given to any other sci-fi world, but the community went behind it because of the story that George Lucas created, which in the very beginning was a gamble for them to begin with. The thing is I just recently heard that they're going to try to bring Kylo Ren back. Right? He just died in the last film.
How does it make you feel?
Well, I mean, to me, it's just them trying to use an eraser. Like, because why would we need Kylo Ren back?
He's one of the biggest characters in the last couple of films, though.
But what made him big? Like, what was his importance in the last story to the Skywalker trilogies or for movies? Like, what did he do that really continued Darth Vader's story?
Sold a lot of merch.
Yeah, that pretty much. He just sold a lot of merch. That's all he did.
Merch.
But like, in the sense of storytelling, what did he really do for the Skywalker film? Only to be at the end for them to tell you, well, it wasn't really about them, because the real hero of the story was a Palpatine.
The whole story is bad, though. So I don't know if you can just place that on Kylo Ren. If you can place it on everybody. Like, the whole story is just bad, though.
See, but you also have to start looking at exactly where that falls in line to. Who's to blame for that?
Yeah, who's to blame when it comes to that?
Kathleen
Now, watch. I was
now
you guys
to kind of answer what what you would originally ask, because this is a multifaceted.
It was. I saw you going. You went to the think tank. I saw you.
No, I didn't go to the think tank. I went to the delicate tank. I was holding back. So to answer your question, no, I do not have faith in her, and let me tell you why. The past 7 years, she has fucked this franchise hard.
Royally.
Let me tell you what, brother. I have not seen a fucking community come together and flame a franchise as hard as they have on Star Wars.
1000%
Now, let me tell you what again. This community is also so fucking toxic that a fucking actor has almost hurt themselves because of how toxic we are. That is some
Oh yeah, the
bullshit.
Rose character.
Exactly. That is
The
some
Asian girl.
bullshit. Now, to put the icing on the cake, we're just gonna sit by and say that what happened to John Boyega was cool. Absolutely not. Do you think
Yeah,
that
they
would have
shit on
happened
John
with Dave
Boyega's character
Filoni and
hardcore.
John Favreau? I
That's
don't
like
fucking
gas-
think
that's
so.
Like, it's like gasoline on the fucking fire.
Oh
You
my
kidding me?
God. Fuck Kathleen
I mean-
Kennedy, her vision. I don't care what she needs for it. Whatever, dude. Go write some fan fiction, put it on your blog, call it a day.
I
Let
want
the
to
real
know.
fucking boys take care of this.
I want to know what kind of leverage she has on some executive up there, because she's supposedly have been like on the chopping block multiple times, and somehow she squirms her way out with a new fucking deal.
Well, she
Like,
was
how the
I have
fuck did
no
she do
idea,
that?
Myers. I have no idea why that happened. It just felt right.
the redneck. Like, why'd you turn into a redneck? Some bitch. It's because that she was super close to George Lucas at that time.
Yeah, I mean, but
yeah,
that
but
was
Dave
so long
Filoni was
ago.
far more close to like
Yeah,
Dave Filoni
exactly.
had direct contact and inspiration from George Lucas himself.
Yeah.
And what did Dave Filoni create? He created The Mandalorian along with Jon Favreau.
Masterpiece.
But I think that was
something that is single-handedly saving the fucking franchise, Mike.
Yeah, but that's because I think there was more of a want to return to the investment from George Lucas for The Mandalorian and wanting to be done right. But during the time of the trilogies that were going on with the Kennedy situation, I think that George Lucas told that dude that he really didn't want him to kind of like instigate or go in there and put pressure on their story. He wanted them to tell theirs. Because you see, like, I don't know if you guys remember, I think Trigger might be a little too young. Brian, you're about my age, but I don't know if you've been into Star Wars that long. The prequels got the same type of heat.
Yeah, they did, but and nowhere near like this though.
Yeah,
but nowhere near like this. But the reason why
because I do remember that. I remember my dad very like I mean, my dad isn't like a fanboy for any kind of franchise, right? You
now,
know,
the reason why the original stories got that type of heat, just in my own opinion at that time, was there was a lot more politics involved, like with the discussions. They were really making it about the times of like what the world was going through. The characters, some of the characters really didn't make any sense. You had like your Jar Jar Binks.
I knew you were gonna
like even Qui-Gon Jinn was this character that it didn't make any sense. Like the first movie didn't even have a main character in the first film. Like there was none until like 45 minutes when you finally get Anakin Skywalker. So the first 45 minutes of that film,
I'd like to respectfully disagree with you on that. And the reason that I say that is because within the first few minutes, we immediately see Obi-Wan. So with that being said, we have a large focus on Obi-Wan and him being a snot-nosed little punk and not really understanding his role as like a Jedi Padawan.
Are you talking about the first film? The first the prequels?
Yeah. And so, like with Qui-Gon, what I loved most about Qui-Gon, and I really want to say what they wanted to highlight now. And granted, this is years after, after kind of really like harping on like what they were trying to do. I was never in the boardroom and saying, hey, this is like what we're going to do and what our vision is for the prequel. Obviously we know, spoiler alert, it was always just to highlight the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker and him becoming Darth Vader. But more so than that, what I think what they really, really wanted to try and highlight on was the duality of the Jedi, was that the fact that the Jedi, as much as we hold them to a very high pedestal, are not as noble, as noble as we think that they are. Yeah. That they are some scummy people themselves. Yeah. Just hiding behind their ideals of greatness.
Yeah, that would be Qui-Gon, who was probably one of the less Jedi masters, even though he was a Jedi master.
Oh yeah,
and he was allowed to have a Padawan, even though he was weak. But the thing is they never established a backstory to him, and they gave him all of this.
They did in books, and that's the unfortunate part, is that a lot of story building and lore building never happened in the movies. You got them in
Oh yeah, you had to
in
get them in books
third-party
that they
media.
created after, which is the same thing
Yeah.
that they did with these movies. Where
Yeah.
after the movies came out and they came out as trash, then they created books and they were like, "Oh, well, we meant to put that in the movies,
Yeah.
but we didn't do it." But yeah, we heard the audience. Let me make a book, but they knew nobody was going to read that shit. Only like the diehard fans were going to read it. But
To be fair, only the diehard
like,
fans really only read the Star Wars.
but then again,
Star Wars
like you
books to
say,
begin with.
like Obi-Wan was kind of like the main, like not main, but he was like the main attention. But he was only the main attention for like the first 10 minutes, and then the rest of the film he's stuck in a ship. Like he's just on a comm fixing the ship in the desert.
I think I'm gonna disagree with both of you guys if that's even possible, because now that I'm thinking about it, they did a great job not focusing in on one person, but they gave you multiple main characters.
Yeah, it was
Like,
different, right?
Natalie Portman was very essential to that storyline, for obvious reasons. Obi-Wan Kenobi was vital for various reasons. And then again, then they're introducing Anakin. So I think they did a great job giving you 3 main characters
That's kind of what I was saying. You know, like you have your first main focus as being Obi-Wan, right?
Okay.
You know, like because if you're gonna go in the order of things that you see, you know, you don't see Darth Vader first in the fourth movie. You see Obi-Wan first.
Okay.
And you're gonna see Darth Vader first, and then you know you're gonna find out a little bit more about Darth Vader. You know, and you're going to find out that, you know, and even then you really don't even hear Padme's name being named, just, you know, that she is, you know, you finally find out that you know, that Padme is who she is because she ends up with Anakin, and only through the prequel storyline. Mm-hmm. You know, and then, you know, towards the end of the movie, you know, obviously, you know, the ending of the third movie, you get Luke and Leia.
Did that not throw you guys off watching that movie? Just a sidetrack.
The other reason
you guys off about fucking Anakin being so young and her being so goddamn old.
Oh yeah,
I was too young to put that together at the time, but yeah, after rewatching it a few times, I'm like, man, you kind of
grooming. Isn't it Hollywood called grooming? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude, that's so grooming shit.
So my biggest thing about that was that the reason why a lot of people didn't like it is it changed from it being a sci-fi spaghetti western in space to a sci-fi drama. That's why it kind of, and the thing is that first episode, when it came out, like you have to remember that when the original Star Wars came out, it came out as a story that was in the middle of a story. Mm-hmm. You remember? So like it already confused people. Yeah. There was already shit going on. So like that on itself would have been really weird when you first saw it. But in this one, it was more like, it just didn't feel like it was in the same theme of the original films. And that's where I feel a lot of the franchise went. And that's why a lot of people didn't like it. But now, comparing those 3 to these 3, I like those better. Like everyone loves those better.
Of course.
Like now it's these 3. And you know what? Like there's some parts of this one that I can dig. But I just did not like what Catherine Kennedy or whatever her name. Man, she just did a really
There's no respect on that name that I'm putting.
That's that's exactly her name, and you still decided to say whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah,
like, that's exactly her name. He was like, whatever the fuck her name
like
is.
That's just what it is. Like there's we've had a long discussions on what we feel they could have done. And now if they do this movie that's coming that they're going to try doing, they bring Kylo Ren back and they give us what we want, do you think the audience and the community will be finally happy?
Does the audience and the community know what they want though?
No.
Do they know what they want?
I mean, no, I really don't think they do anymore.
So how do they win? How does Kathleen Kennedy win in this situation?
They just do something new.
Honestly, you know what it is, and I hate to say it, and I hate to be that guy. Whatever Jon Favreau and David Filoni create is going to be exactly what they want.
That's good.
That's it. That's it. It's a shitty answer, but it's
a great answer because it's a correct answer.
No, because with The Mandalorian, they did very well.
Exactly, but we didn't know that that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, like we didn't know that that's what we wanted.
but
Did
then
we
as-
want-
but then
did
again,
we know that we wanted Baby Yoda to fucking figure out what the fuck is going, is going
but that
on?
but that's why I'm
You know,
saying that what the community needs right now is just something new. Totally removed from the Skywalker franchise. Totally removed from that story. Like there's nothing about. I mean, yeah, even what they did in the Mandalorian.
I was
But
gonna say,
Trigger will tell you, I was disappointed with that.
yeah, even in Mandalorian, they're not getting away from the Skywalker thing. So like, what do you go from there? Then?
So, but that's the thing is, Trigger will tell you when at the end of the film when Luke Skywalker came out, he'll tell you straight up
Yeah, that
how
was
I was so
Chris
disappointed.
Jaden.
So
I was
so every other Star Wars fan popped, and you were the only fucking guy that
Yeah.
was like,
Straight
"Get
up.
the fuck
I
out."
was like, yeah, because I really wanted it to be this other character from Ezra from the Rebels cartoon. Because
Okay.
that character completely disappeared from the cartoon, and it would have been the perfect escape for them to make it away from the Skywalker story. And
But
create
you ended up
something
getting
new.
exactly what you wanted because that's now exactly who Ashoka's looking for.
Yeah, but we
so
know what's
you're
gonna
getting-
happen.
You're
to
getting
the
that
kid.
anyway. Yeah, you're getting it
With what
anyway.
happens to Luke, you know what's gonna happen to the kid. Like we know
Yeah,
Luke's
but
gonna
that's
turn
the
into
thing. Like
grumpy
now that
old
we
man.
have David Filoni and Jon Favreau now helming, the rest of the Star Wars franchise, we may very well get a reboot on our hands or an even different spinoff. Who the fuck knows? Because the thing is that from what I've been hearing is that Fallen Order is canonized, and in Fallen Order there is a list of children who are Force sensitive that the Jedi were always planning on reaching out to become Jedi Knights.
And that was the list that was in the prequels.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that the
So
librarian.
like I said, Fallen Order is canonized, but how they spin off or go off from that, and staying away from Skywalker canon, for lack of a better term, isn't a bad thing. It really isn't. It worked obviously in Mandalorian, but unpopular opinion to Chris, what happened with Luke and him coming out and everything like that. It was a beautiful reintroduction to a character that we never got to see anything happen with for 30 years. Because regardless of how anyone feels about, Luke Skywalker and how he was portrayed in the last 3, episodes, we haven't seen anything from Luke in 30 years after, A New Hope or Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
We got to see a nice we got to see a nice little in between of what happened in between Return of the Jedi and fucking whatever the fucking
beginning movie is.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is it's super
A new
weird though.
Rey.
It's super weird that we didn't get anything because that was like a badass Luke Skywalker, dude. Like he was like prime badass Luke Skywalker, but you got nothing from that though.
So real quick,
payoff.
Brian, before that episode came out, who did you think it was going to be?
Well, I think I had it spoiled for me. I knew that Luke was going to show up, so I kind of had it spoiled for me. So I kind of knew that Luke was showing up. But just knowing that he was gonna show up in that episode or one of the episodes, I was all for it, man. Like, first off, let me just say the Mandalorian is one of the best fuck canon Star Wars. It's one of the best TV shows that came out in the last couple years, dude. Like that shit is just fucking
straight up.
that's just fucking amazing. Like it stands on itself just as a TV show. And that to see that green lightsaber come out, dude,
Nice.
it's fucking amazing, bro. And that was Favreau and Filoni just tipping their hat to the everyone that had been sticking around so long in the Star Wars franchise. That was them winking their eye at you, like, yo, we didn't.
Yeah, and I didn't at all feel like it was a like, oh, thanks for throwing us a bone, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I really think that was like, hey guys,
don't worry,
we didn't forget
we got
about you.
We got you. We got this. Don't worry about it. We got this.
So I had 2 calls, and my 2 calls were Ezra and Mace Windu.
Oh, dude, you were sold on Mace Windu for
you just
a minute.
you just stole my
dude.
question, man. Do you obviously I was gonna ask, do you guys think Mace Windu is still alive? Yes or no? Like yes or no answer.
I mean, I would say
want
yes.
for him to be alive.
Oh.
That's my answer. I want for him to be alive.
So do I.
I would say yes, because the idea is like, okay, what is the statute of limitation on people's how high they can fall from? Because a couple of minutes or days before that, Anakin, free fell out of a vehicle and landed on another vehicle.
That's
So
true. That's true.
Well, I mean, look at the first one. Fucking Qui-Gon
they were
Darth
doing some-
Maul,
they
they
were doing
fall
some
from
wild
like
shit.
10
Yeah.
stories
Yeah,
and
they
then
were
just
doing
like
some wild shit.
So that's the thing is this would have been, that's why I always say that these are missed opportunities for great storytelling, is because those were two solid points out of a fork in the road that had no connection to it, that they could have at least introduced new characters to carry on the franchise. Because there was a really weird theory that was going around that Ahsoka Tano is the one that taught Anakin after Yoda died how to fight, and that's why he was able to beat his father, because he knew his fighting style. Right? Because Yoda doesn't fight the same way Mace Windu did, which is the same way Anakin fought. They use different fighting styles because there's different styles in the Jedi fighting styles, which was I forget Vermont or Vernoon. I forgot the name of it. Something with a V.
Well, Mace Windu uses Form 7, but he uses a variant of Form 7, which is his own variant of it, which is very dark side. Yeah, it's very dark side heavy. So like he tells nobody to use it. And it's very aggressive. And
in other words, he's a fucking badass as a Jedi.
Yeah.
He's as close as you can get to a Sith as a Jedi. Yeah, Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
Not only is he the only dude with a purple saber, but he's got the baddest style of fighting on the planet too.
I was gonna say, like, I think that would have gotten maybe not as big as a pop or as big as a reaction, but if that lightsaber had been purple,
that would have fucking freaked everyone out.
Yeah.
The reason why I say it
a
would
lot of people would have been like, I fucking knew it.
that would have been one part, but then you would know that somewhere there is a faction of Jedi that survived. Because that was right before Order 66. So you knew Mace would have gotten the message out to someone and saved people.
Oh, bro, that was hours before it.
Yeah.
It's hours before.
So if Mace Windu would have survived and let some people know, that would have been the greatest intro on how the Fallen Order would make sense and all those kids survived.
True.
You know what I mean? Because they didn't give any prospect.
I don't know. Me from like a tactical standpoint, and this is like me just, slight military background, right? Is that, I have fucking clone troopers firing at me and I happen to kill everyone around me. The first thing that I'm doing is all Jedi need to fucking get away.
Yeah,
just get the hell away from them. We are being attacked. From then on, every man for himself. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.
And I feel like if it would have been Samuel Jackson's character, I feel it would have been like a saving grace, because Yoda always looked up to Mace Windu for advice. He always looked at Mace Windu for more of his mentality because of his structure in the Jedi Council and stuff. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mace Windu sat at a higher chair than Yoda.
No.
In the faction. Yeah.
Nope.
I'm serious. That's why he looked to him for advice.
Nope. Yoda was the Grand Master of the Jedi Order.
During Mace Windu's time? You'd have to check that out, because
I don't need to. I know
Princess Amidala literally went to Mace Windu first for advice. And
yes, because her family and Mace Windu went back a very long way. But yes, Yoda was the Grand Master of the Jedi Order for like a couple hundred years.
So that would have been my thing, for him to get the new child that's supposed to be like the next Yoda.
It would have made more. It would have made more sense canonically, leading into the last three movies, because we're like very much like what a lot of people had to say with Grogu, Baby Yoda leaving with Luke, because everyone was like, "Well, spoiler alert, the fucking kid dies."
Yeah, we all know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, right. I mean, spoiler alert, the whole fucker dies, man. Awesome. Yeah. And and this is only a 15, 17-year jump in between those. So he's not going to be much older than what he is right now. he'll probably be able to make sentences at best.
Yeah, probably. Well, he
And
can talk. He talks to who does he talk to? Ahsoka?
through their minds.
Yeah.
through their mind. Yeah.
Yeah, through the mind's eye, you know. But like, what I mean is that if Mace Windu had been the one to pick him up, it would have made more sense canonically because we don't see Grogu in the last 3 movies.
And then that would have
There's absolutely no mention of a Baby Yoda.
Him later in the storyline to be
Yes,
like,
and,
yo,
that,
this
and
is the
that's
character.
and that's why, you know, had it been Ezra, had it been Mace, or you know, any other Jedi to pick up Baby Yoda, it would have made more sense canonically because like I said, you know, we didn't have any mention of that kid, nor was he featured in the fucking, you know, throughout the last 3 movies.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, you know, I wanted it to be that for that exact reason. Like, hey man, you know, we didn't get these things. And with Luke coming back and taking him, is he one of the kids that died in that fucking fire?
I hope not, man. That'd be so sad as fuck.
Right?
Dude, if they introduced this character in Mandalorian for him to get wiped out.
There's no way.
Or it's like that meme where like Kylo Ren looks at him and he's like, "Hey, you're pretty cool, Grogu. Like, don't come to school tomorrow."
Yeah, dude. You know,
like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, go to the restroom. Or he's in the restroom when all the kids are getting wiped out by fucking what's his face.
Or it's like the baby meme where it's like,
just running and shit and runs out and shit.
You know, it's you know, it's shit like that, dude. You know, but like I said, with it being another character outside of Luke, it would have made more sense canonically. I'm glad that I got Luke. Right, I'm not at all going to complain about that. I loved that I got Luke.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I think that they brought in a different. Okay, so did you guys hear about the special effects guy that fixed it?
Yes.
Did you hear about that? So there was a guy online that fixed the special effects of Star Wars.
Yeah, and deep faked Mark Hamill's well, not just Sebastian Stan, but Mark Hamill's actual face, like his face from 1976 onto it, and onto this body, and it was a much better version. And they were like, "Damn it!" And then that same guy was like, "You're Sebastian Stan. Wouldn't it be a cool idea?" And since then, Sebastian Stan has already been like, if Mark Hamill himself reaches out to me and says, "I want you to play Luke," that's it. I'll play Luke. That's it.
Yo, Brian, did you ever see that where they put the side by side?
I did. Yeah.
Dude, that is epic as hell, man. Sebastian Stan looks just like the young Mark Hamill. Yeah. But you know what? Like, not only that.
Would you have rather Sebastian Stan just show up as opposed to the okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I always I mean it's the same thing as like when you see like when they do the deep fakes of like of Princess Leia in the other films, and there's something about it that looks very milky, that doesn't look very human-esque yet when it comes to CG. Like the skin doesn't look right, or something just doesn't look lively. It looks fake.
Yeah.
So like to see him in that thing, like his eyes look super dead. Like it's just like it looks like they just stare off.
It looked very robotic to me. It was very like
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Give me the baby.
It would have been cool if they had a live actor come out, but it was very cool for them to get the voice of Mark Hamill to come back and actually do the voice. So that was cool. But yeah, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker coming out at the end. I'm not against it.
I sound very against it, bro.
I'm not against. I don't think there's anybody that could be like, nah, fuck Mandalorian. Luke Skywalker came out. I'm not against it. There was a part of me that story wise, I think they had an opportunity to make it more exciting, rather than it be like, oh, dude, I knew it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just to me, the Luke Skywalker thing was just the safety net. Like it was safety because you knew that Luke Skywalker was around at that time. But then again, this is the same problem with Star Wars as it always has been, which is where everything is, it may be a vast galaxy, but it's always just about a little like neighborhood of people.
See, I think I kind of disagree with you about the safety net thing. Because honestly, again, I think standalone, you let's say you take out the Mark Hamill Luke Skywalker reveal. You take that out, that's still an amazing fucking episode. That's still an amazing show. Like they didn't even need to do that for it to be a fucking amazing show. So safety net, I don't think I would call it that, or like to be a reveal. I think that was just like literally not just the icing on the cake, but then the cherry on top as well.
Well, the story buildup was from the previous episode when they get Grogu to have to even send out that beacon.
The message.
Yeah, so someone had to come and get him.
Yeah.
And when that established, you already knew that the kid was leaving and he wasn't going to be in the next couple episodes or seasons or whatnot. So
What do
you knew it was a good ending, but it was just like, oh man, who's it going to be?
What do you guys
But-
think about Rosario Dawson as
Perfect.
Ahsoka?
I think she's perfect. I love Rosario
I like it
Dawson.
a
She's so
lot.
awesome.
I like it a lot, but I don't think that she's really come into the role yet. I thought she
Yeah.
was fighting a lot with the character. I don't think it was as fluid as I would have liked for it to have been. And the reason that I say that is because Ashoka is a very, very conflicted character,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
You know, a very, very conflicted character, you know, from the moment of her introduction to,
Mhm.
you know, the leave of her character in Clone Wars. She's been a very, very conflicted character, you know, has had to go through just leaps and bounds to get to where she is. And then to have her character like just it almost seemed bitter. You know,
Yeah.
very, very bitter. I didn't feel that that was the correct like direction that Ashoka would have gone. Now I
Well,
kind
you
of
would-
get
you
it.
would
I
have
kind
to
of
be
get it a
really-
little bit because you know, like Thrawn is a very, very, very
Yeah, I was going to
major
say you have to
character.
really catch up on Rebels to really know where she goes from there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that's the thing is like if you didn't get to catch up with Rebels on it, like there's a reason why she's like that. Because yeah, Thrawn is one part, but also like with the whole her losing like literally the death of Anakin in her eyes of him becoming Luke Skywalker and then him killing off like the rest of her close friends and her like becoming a Grandmaster Jedi or her becoming a Master Jedi when she returns from the past after she's killed in the past. So like it's very because they introduced time travel, and
yeah,
that
which I
Ahsoka
thought was
Tano
very
is
like
that time
okay.
displaced. Yeah, time travel sucks, but she's time displaced in that series. But Darth Vader did kill her once,
Mhm.
and she knew it was coming, and then she's saved by Ezra, who that's why she's kind of like not in love with, but feels that she deserves to save him
Mhm.
because he always saved her. He saved her in such like a tremendous way. So like there is that weirdness, and that's why I kind of feel like it would have been bittersweet to have Ezra at the end of the show come and get the kid because Ahsoka Tano's looking for him.
Mhm.
She's not looking for Thrawn. She just knows that Thrawn is alive, and Thrawn is this weird blue skinned general.
Yeah.
He's got red eyes. He's a cool character. He was supposed to be in the new films.
Yeah.
But of course Kennedy sucks. But
Are you still getting him though? He's still coming.
yeah, I really hope so. That he deserves the opportunity to be in the films. The story that they created for that children's cartoon turned out to be pretty damn amazing. And actually, what's really crazy is in the second new film, they have that one character, and I forgot her name. She does the hyperspeed through the other starship. Right? They did that whole scene where she fucking hyperspaces and kills herself.
Oh yeah,
And you remember that one beautiful scene when they cut the ship in half?
yeah, like a gangster dude.
Do you remember that, Brian, or no?
I kind of vaguely. It's been a while.
One of the
It's-
general.
It's how Leia dies but doesn't die. She like floats through space and then awakens in space and just Jedi floats herself into another ship, and they're
Did you
like,
see
"Oh my
that?
god,
Did
you're
you see-
alive!"
This is the 3 new films. It's the second of
Yeah.
the 3 new ones.
Okay.
Did you see that one or no?
I did. It's been a while.
There's a scene where the rebels are trying to get away. They're trying to get away from the ships, and all their ships are slowly being destroyed. And this one general chick has everybody evacuate. She stays behind, and it's the lady from Jurassic Park, the original movie. It's the mom.
The mom,
But she has purple hair in this one.
or the. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has purple hair.
Not
But
the
then
mom,
she's
but
like,
the
may the force be with you, or I don't know
Yeah.
what she says. And she slams the ship into hyperspace, and it like chops one of the main ships in half, and it makes this beautiful, like almost like a film negative where like everything is black and you just see the white outline and the stars in the back and the trickle. It was a beautiful scene. It was literally in the Twins when the guy hyperspaces through him in the cartoon.
Yeah, and then
Well,
cuts it in half. Yeah.
That whole idea of never jump through hyperspace through stuff, like that's always been like a rule of space movies. Like don't ever do that, like time travel and blah blah blah. Like you always have all these like rules that they never show, but it was actually first done in the Rebels cartoon. Like someone did that hyperspace jump in Star Wars in the Rebel cartoon first, and then they took it and put it in the movie later. So like there was a lot of things that the Rebels inspired from this new franchise of films. So for them to have used Ezra, I guess it all goes back to Ezra. I mean, it's just what I wish would have happened. I mean, I'm beating a dead horse here, guys.
Hard on for this.
Yeah, you're gonna learn, Brian, that a lot of a lot of theories that Chris gives is a lot of I want this to happen. Not
but watch. What happens is it ends up probably happening most of the time.
You have like an 85% track record.
That's a pretty good
that's pretty good though.
Yeah, if there was two streets and I said don't go down the left one, it's a pretty good call for us not going down the right one then, huh? Okay, so going off to the next one, guys. Guys, if you haven't heard, Disney Visions, it's on Disney Plus. Star Wars Visions, go check it out. It's got 9 episodes.
It's so good.
Awesome.
You're not going to be disappointed.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed. They're great shows. You may get lost in between a couple of them. They're not really canon to the story. They're just really great tellings from the East. A bunch of Japanese artists are in it. It's beautiful art. Go check it out. Last conversation before we go, boys. Marvel What If.
It's that
we
time?
got
it's that time.
Saturday Night Thor. We got
Saturday Night Live
Girls Gone Wild Thor. What do you guys think of this episode of Marvel What If?
Trigger, I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
So I thought it was funny, and I thought that's all it was just funny. Was it like pivotal? No. The only pivotal moment was the last 30 seconds, of the episode. But no, I don't think that this was supposed to be oh my God, this is a heart-wrenching, telling of a what if episode. No, dude, that's not what this was. This was fun. This is cool. It's every kid who's ever, been to a house party when they were 16 and had to clean up, in 2 hours, the entire house and stuff like that, and tell your mom the white lie. Oh, I know, buddy. Shit like that. But like I said, dude, it was fun. I enjoyed the episode, but I knew that the episode wasn't going to be like, oh, this is one of those that like, is just going to change the fucking What If series forever. I didn't feel like it was like the Doctor Strange episode. Strange episode to me is the best episode so far. Mm-hmm. Because it was just one of those like, well, what if? What if he really went that far? What if he really, really went that far to go and try and fix a problem? And, it just went that far, right? And then, obviously we get, Ultiviz or Viztron or however the fuck you want to say it.
Whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, Viztron with the fucking Infinity Stones. And I'm kind of just like,
yeah. Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Brian, what about you, man?
Jeez, man, I just had so many things that I found wrong with this episode. Was it fun? I guess I would have actually rather watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off. To be honest with you,
that was I've heard that.
I would have rather watched.
They should have themed it around Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, I would have rather just sat there and watched Ferris. I would have just rather watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I didn't really like this episode. This is probably one of my least favorite. No, actually, it is. This is my least favorite episode so far. Like Trigger said,
a lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, it didn't get interesting until like the last 20 seconds, the last 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I didn't like how Thor was portrayed. Because you're telling me that he's just going to be this alternate version of him just because he didn't meet Loki.
Yeah, pretty much. Right?
I wasn't really on board with that. I didn't like how Carol Danvers was portrayed either. She was just a total wet blanket, and I guess she's not really like that in the MCU though. So I didn't really get that. I did find it cool having the Thor Captain Marvel fight. That was pretty cool. Seeing Loki as actually a frost giant was fucking awesome. Like that was pretty cool. But other than that, there really weren't any bright spots. It was just like an 80s, like Trigger said, one of those 80s movies where it was like a house party and And honestly, it was the one thing I did find cool. It was cool, but not cool at the same time. It was very female centric. You had Thor, as the main person, but then you had a lot of
Dude, Darcy was the
supporting.
shit, dude.
Yeah,
I
you had a
love
lot of
Darcy.
you had a lot of supporting female characters in this, but Darcy was not cool. She was a total ditz in this fucking in
I
this
love
episode.
Darcy.
I hated
Darcy's
it.
my main lady, dude.
She fucked around and married Howard the
Howard the
Duck.
Duck. Howard
Are
the
you
Duck's got skills, though,
kidding
man.
me?
Bro,
I
well, that
wasn't
guy
on board
fucks,
with
dude.
it.
That guy pulls, dude.
That guy fucks, man. But yeah, I just wasn't, and that's about as nice as I could put it. To be honest with you,
That's
I
fair.
really didn't like this episode, but there were some bright spots, so I wanted to highlight that. But yeah, if I had to give it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably giving it like a 4.
Yeah, mine 4 out of 10. Wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode was fucking trash to me, dude. Yeah, well,
there it is.
Hardcore Chris
Jaded.
Yeah,
yeah, you're gonna get hardcore Chris Jaded.
Yeah, dude.
We have 2 more episodes
7.
left of the franchise or of the What If season, and I feel like Marvel doesn't really have a lot of time left to waste to really explain what the fuck is going on.
I would have rather.
We've passed the center of the episodes.
Exactly.
I think the Hank Pym episode was almost utter garbage because the way that they carried Hank Pym and the other one was it didn't make sense for him to kill random people that weren't even like associated with Nick Fury or the organization that killed his daughter. Not only to mention that, his daughter signed up for that shit voluntarily. No one forced her to be killed off. Now they brought in this weird hyper spoiled Thor, because even with the kid from Game of Thrones that was fucking a piece of shit kid, like he didn't even act like this, where he was like scared of his mom. Like, okay, and also like I get it, Freya is a scary lady, like she's stern and all this other stuff.
I don't know, dude. I'm 32 years old and I'm still kind of scared of my mom.
Yeah, like I get it, but like for them to make it to where he's like a petulant child and he's the god of thunder.
Yeah.
And he parties hard in the comics. He partied in his youth when he was on Earth doing his Nordic shit, because the Thor of the history is the same Thor of the comic books, right? Of the main one. So like he was already a part of that party life here on Earth. So, but you're telling me like now that he's in like his weird 30s, I don't even know how you would recommend him in the sense of age, because he's like immortal, but like he's in that age where he's like older, mature, that he parties harder than he was when he was like a teen. Like he would have destroyed the Earth back then. Like there's so many things that I just don't quite get on where they were like, yeah, like since Loki's not cool with him, he parties so hard that he destroys planets. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, who wrote that shit? Like, the thing is there had to be a group of people sitting down saying, hey, we're going to do an episode of Thor. If he didn't meet Loki, what do you think he should do? Oh, we should make him super cocky and corny and really spoiled. Hey, that sounds good. So what do you think the story should be about? Well, let's have him do a Girls Gone Wild on planet Earth. And he partied so hard that S.H.I.E.L.D. has to get involved. Sick. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean?
And that party was lame, bro. The best part of the party was the Grandmaster. Release the foam.
Yeah,
for me, it was it was using the St. Louis Arch as a fucking slingshot. Dude, that was sick, bro. I was like,
yo, and then they bring in Carol Danvers, right? Cool idea. Right, Nick Fury's been knocked out by Korg because Korg was doing something and knocked him out in Nick Fury's in the hospital.
Super well.
So a party is so earth destroying that they have to call in like something that's stronger than a nuke. And then she gets here and gets tanked, which I thought was funny. And then Maria Hill, who's a huge bitch in the comic books, continues to be a huge bitch in the show, which I thought was very great. But there was this weird, like, look at Carol Danvers tank a god. Like, she's going to fight Thor, who's an immortal and who's literally practically a god in the Marvel universe. Sits on a Pantheon. And she's going to tank him because she was given the powers of Captain Marvel or whatever the fuck.
And not only that, but she wasn't even full.
And then she was like, well, I'm not even full strength.
Yeah,
so now
they made it a point to point that out, that she wasn't even full strength.
Yeah. And then, I mean, yeah, but I mean, at the same time, you could see that Thor was still fucking around,
He was still
smiling when he
fucking
called
around.
his hammer.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
you know, they were both like casually, like he's not even taking the fight serious. But this idea on how they brought in Carol Danvers as this like god fighting character, like people are now saying that she could take out Superman. Yeah, there's people that are out there that
That's
are like,
cute.
she's got enough powers because she's as strong as the sun.
That's
Like
cute.
that she can take out. Dude, she's been tanked by so many people in the comics. She's afraid of Hulk. She's afraid of the Hulk. Like, but then again, everyone is afraid of the Hulk.
I would say I would be afraid of the Hulk.
Yeah, everyone's afraid of the Hulk.
I was about to say, I was like, bro, Thanos actively avoids fights with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would be scared
that
of
is
the
a
Hulk, too.
comic fact. It is
Yeah,
in
comic
the
fact.
comics.
so
This
so
is not me fucking around. Like, yes, like
it's
he has
very
stated.
weird. I mean, yes, we've all said it before here on the show that we feel like the MCU is a very great way for them to fix the problems that are in the comic book about the characters. One, Carol Danvers herself, no one gives a fuck about in the comic books.
Why is this?
They cannot save her for
Why
the
can't
life
they?
of her.
Why can't? Well, first off, they can't get her over in the comic books, and they for some reason they can't get her over in the movies either. Why is this?
They're just bad story writing with her.
It's because they shit on the original Captain Marvel by creating her character. Like, and that was they when they originally had Carol Danvers come out, like they didn't shit on him. They did it in a pretty cool way. Like he gets hit with a laser, she gets the powers because it goes through him, which is the same thing they did to Superman with the Eradicator when he got his powers back. Like it's a well-known comic. It's like the Ooze, like, oh, I landed in acid, now I got superpowers kind of idea, right?
Well,
But then
hers
later
was
on-
like hers. She knew Marvel, and so when Marvel came out as Captain Marvel, and she saw who he was, she ended up going to a fucking machine, like a little wishing machine, and was like, "I want to be just like him." And that's what happened. Then she just got his powers, and then spoiler alert, he fucking died.
He dies of cancer, dude. This fucking dude dies of cancer, and he's one of the only
Space
Marvel
cancer.
characters. What, space cancer, yeah.
Space
He's one, and he's one of the only Marvel characters that has never been brought back to life.
Other than Wonder
Everybody's
Man.
been brought
that
back
makes
to
me
life.
mad.
Space
The fact that
cancer
this-
is permanent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
dude,
everyone
other
liked
than,
this guy
you know, I'd
because
have
he
to
was,
say Wonder Man, and that
he
makes
was
me
originally
mad.
like a Kree,
Yes.
and then he was sent to the Earth to destroy it and conquer it. Then fell in love with the people, and then defended the Earth. That's what made him Captain Marvel, and he was a strong motherfucker. He was strong. And then, of course, him and Carol date. The situation happens when he gets hit with the laser and she gets the powers. He gets cancer, dies. She becomes the new Captain Marvel, but not before Monica Rambeau, right? Monica Rambeau is actually is she the first Captain Marvel? Yeah, she is, right? Or second? Monica Rambeau? Okay. So yeah, I know that it's something like that. I know that she acquires the name or something like that. I forgot how
She
it goes,
does that when Rogue takes her powers.
But then what happens is later on they end up switching the whole origin story to where like Captain Marvel or Captain, like now Carol Danvers is part Kree, like born half Kree, and then her mother
Yeah.
was a warrior Kree. Like they just changed her story all up to remove Marvel from the storyline,
Which is
the
trash.
original Marvel.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people who were fans of Marvel for years were like, dude, you just shit on the one character that helped create this chick's character. It would be like the Jane Foster story. Like Jane Foster's story would then you would kill Thor off and then make it to where you say like she was the better Thor anyways. All of these years that Thor's been Thor in the comics, you'd be like, dude, that's what made Thor the story. She just picked up the title. So again, this is on the not even on the tails of it. This was like one of the major problems of the gender swapping characters in the Marvel universe. Because that's what they did with this. And when they brought her character out, they tried to make her better, stronger, faster, and all that other shit than the original. And everyone was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's what happened in the comic books. Then it was like, okay, cool. Like, have her fight this person. She tanks that dude. Why? How does she tank that dude if Marvel couldn't tank that dude? Like, oh, she's fighting Thanos. Like, even in the movie, right? You go to Endgame. She shows up and flies right through the ship. And everyone was like, dude, that was awesome. Then you have it to where Thor,
You didn't
Captain
find it awesome?
America, and Iron Man are
You
all
didn't
trying
think-
to.
wait. You didn't think that was awesome?
I thought it was awesome when she flew through the ship.
Okay. You just said that with so much like
I thought it was awesome. I was
Okay.
like, when she came in, it was such perfect writing when he was like rain fire, And then all of a sudden they're like, dude, aim towards the skies. Something else is incoming. And everyone was like, what the fuck are you talking about incoming?
Okay.
Like there could have been a million characters. It could have been Nova. Like
True.
it could have been, because the thing is they always wanted to introduce Richard Rider, the Nova character, which is one of the Nova Corps guys, which is like the Green Lantern of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, like
but
one of my
instead,
absolute favorites.
the
of
fucking
of the Marvel universe.
the guns all aim up, they start firing in the sky, and then you see Captain Marvel flying and she slams right through his fucking ship, and you're like, oh dude, Thanos is fucked now, dude. And he's not fucked because she's there. He's fucked because his ship got landed. I didn't give a fuck. The Wanda was tanking fucking Thanos on her own.
I don't think that gets talked about enough.
Like Wanda was the reason why Thanos even told everybody to fire that fucking gun was because Wanda was tearing him the fuck up.
Wanda was in his ass.
Yeah, Wanda was up. And,
Wanda was
she
was like, "Bring me that ass, dude."
Yeah, Wanda was like, "You took everything from me." He's like, "Fuck, I don't even know your name, girl. Calm down." Like
you gonna,
you're gonna
learn today.
Yeah, you're gonna know today, boy.
You will.
But then Captain Marvel shows up, and then they're fist fighting. Thor's having a horrible amount of trouble fighting Thanos, and Thor is a god. And then what's her face? Carol Danvers comes in, and Thanos headbutts her, and then she like headbutts him back, and she's not even phased by the punch or anything. Like, dude, he fought the Hulk at like Savage Hulk power level, and just dropped his fucking ass, like fucking chopped him in the throat and made it to where he was scared. And he headbutted Carol Danvers, and she didn't even move. I think he even like punches her, and her punch stops, right? Like on her face.
Yeah.
Like some shit like that. And I was like,
I will throw them some bail though. When Thanos did fight the Hulk, he did have the Power Stone. And when he fought, when he fought Carol Danvers, he didn't have any stones.
He has he has like all 4 stones on, doesn't he?
Not when he fights.
Because he's about to put it on. He just
can't. Well, no, he gets the gauntlet.
He gets
the only one that he uses is the Power Stone. He takes it off and he fucking hits it.
And he takes it. Yeah.
But the thing is he doesn't have to do. Once he has the glove on, he can use the powers. He just does. He just needs to snap his fingers to do that 50 shit. Other than that, he can just use the damn glove.
True.
Like he had that shit on. He just wasn't able to snap his fingers together.
I honestly think just with some better writing, like just the MCU, they have a gold mine on their hands if they just write her better instead of forcing it down the people's throats.
Yes.
which is what they're gonna do. Like regardless,
so.
they're basically just gonna ram her right down your throat, and you're gonna like it regardless. If they just have better storytelling, they would be able to print money with Captain Marvel.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think they have 7 comic arcs right now or 5 of Carol Danvers that have all failed. Like every time that they try to start her standalone, they all fail. I think the only one that carried on was like back in like 2015 or 2013, where like the Dazzler series, Miss Marvel, was a lot more popular. But a lot of the newer ones, they only last about a year, and then they all just get rebooted. Like they can't carry her story. No one cares about her character. And then not only that, when they wrote her in Civil War 2, they ruined her. They ruined the fuck out of her character.
Yeah, I was absolutely done with her character.
Because she was like Batman in the Man versus Superman story. Like not the greatest detective anymore.
Oh, okay.
Like they wrote her
on top of that,
dumb.
she fucking kills Iron Man.
Yep. Very gullible. And in the comic books, like she can't tank Thanos. Like that's what makes him so hard, is that he's a mad titan. Like you can't fist fight Thanos. Like no one can fist fight Thanos.
The Eternals are scared of Thanos.
Yeah.
Are you?
And
and
we're just gonna assume
tell
that
me Little Miss Thing can just what's going on?
Yeah, you're gonna headbutt him to death or whatever.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's very weird, like just the way that they're doing things. And then here we are again with Carol Danvers, because Kevin Feige or whoever it was like, oh, she's gonna be the strongest character in the universe. Dude, when they introduced Blue Marvel, that guy's gonna blow the fucking mind out of everybody, dude. You watch. That's gonna be my call. The Marvels, I guarantee it. Hyperion confirmed.
Wait, Chris. What about your thoughts about Prince Namor?
Which one?
Namor. What do you think about
Namor?
He ain't no prince, I'll tell you that.
I mean, for what it's worth, like
I'm totally joking.
It would be cool if when they bring him out. I think he's gonna be a great character. Why? Because DC ain't doing anything good anyways, and we need a cool like sea guy, like Aquaman. the story of Atlantis, I don't know how much different they can get from Aquaman for it to be anything. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are gonna care.
particularly being from Mexican descent. Like, how do you feel about that?
For being
like,
what?
We spoke about that, and
For
you
them
know,
choosing a Hispanic guy.
I'm
yeah,
bringing it up again just because I like to fuck with Chris about it, bro.
I mean, since I'm Hispanic and I can say it, I mean, we're good swimmers, dude. The ones that made it here. I mean,
a la verga.
we're good swimmers, so I don't
I
see
don't
why they
wanna-
wouldn't choose us.
My
I
my
didn't
biggest
even-
problem isn't the fact that he's Mexican, dude. It's the fact that he's ugly.
Dude, you can't say ugly. He's not ugly. You
Yeah,
can
he
clean him.
is.
Well, I
He
mean,
ain't good looking.
taken
But
some
the
handsome
way,
photos
but the
before,
way
dude.
Trigger delivered it is priceless.
I know,
love
you're
it.
like, I don't like
love
his
it.
face.
Bro, I don't.
His delivery was 10 out of 10 on that one.
bro,
the actor that
homie
they
ugly,
chose
dude.
is
Bro,
very
what do you want me to
underwhelming.
say, dude? Homie's a
The
yucky,
actor that
bro.
they chose is very underwhelming. That's what we think. Like in the sense of how he looks, because
But the
okay, so-
representation means nothing. It means nothing to you guys. There's representation for Mexicans in fucking the MCU now.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Bro,
like when
you're-
they make the
okay.
movie, I want him to be represented correctly.
Yeah, of
You know?
course. But at the same time, dude, get a fucking handsome looking Mexican guy to fucking play this guy.
Someone that looks good, man.
Yeah.
You got Namor,
You guys-
the fucking king of Sue Storm was supposed to be like, Reed, you're lucky, bro. Like you're
Bro,
lucky he's got
he
feathers on his
fucks,
feet.
dude.
Yeah.
Namor fucks.
Yeah, Namor
that guy
fucks
is
a
the
lot, dude.
fucking wife stealer.
Yeah,
If
he's
Namor's
out there
around,
trying to
you hide
steal-
your wife.
he's
That's
out
what
there trying to get
happens.
Fantastic Four's wife.
Yeah,
So,
dude.
like he's out there constantly trying. He's supposed to be like, you know, the typical prince king
Playboy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's supposed to be like that. Like, I mean, for what it's worth, it was confusing at first when they were choosing people of Hispanic culture. Okay, I'm just gonna say it because me personally, on my side, and my side of the idea, I would have chosen someone that was an islander, or at least someone of the Pacific side. You know, maybe even like the Filipinos. Maybe someone like in that nature. Why? Because they're closer to the sea. We're just closer to the Gulf, which is the sea also, but we're not very water-based people. Like that's not what we're known for. We're not known for unless you go to Cancun or you go to South Padre Island. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I get it, but like other than that, there's nothing. So it's a little weird unless they're gonna try to make it seem like the Mayan and the Aztecs and all that stuff was like, I guess like ideally close to what was it? What was that one? Atlantis, like the one that was on the Earth. Maybe they'll claim that Atlantis was like here or whatever in Mexico, or I don't know. I just can't comprehend why they would choose someone of that culture to be that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes
Because
sense.
through our
But the
storytelling
only thing
nature,
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around just not appreciating finally having some type of representation in such a big and such on such a big platform. Like
okay, watch. I
it would be
guarantee.
it would be like black people like finding out that Chadwick Boseman is Black Panther, and you know some of us saying, yeah, but you know what, he's a little bit
He's
too
ugly.
dark-skinned. He's ugly.
He's ugly.
He's ugly.
Like fucking trick.
You know what I'm saying?
Sucks,
But
dude.
like, I just don't. That part I don't think I'll ever understand. But hey, man, I mean, I got Black Panther, so I'm happy, dude. So,
Okay, so watch.
Yeah, but did every large comic book release on your title? No, because it didn't really. Not every major comic book title was ever released on Namor's.
Yeah.
Give a fuck who Namor is. I hate Namor as a comic book character to begin with.
My biggest thing about the Namor situation has nothing to do about representation.
okay,
It's the fact that he's always been portrayed as an Asian guy.
okay.
I could show you every picture he's drawn in, and he looks way more Asian and white than he's ever looked Hispanic.
I would definitely agree with you on the Asian part.
So like
Definitely
that's got to be my concern in the sense of like,
You
okay,
know who
cool.
I
Like
kind of wanted to play Namor, and you know, this
I'm
is
gonna
just
check.
headcanon,
which one?
is Luke Evans.
Luke Evans. Okay, yeah. That's the dude
He's a
that played
beautiful
Dracula.
man, dude. You know,
Yeah,
that
that
guy
dude-
can pull off anything.
Yeah, that's the dude that played Dracula in that new movie, right?
yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
He played Bard in Bard
Hobbit.
the Bowman in the Hobbit movies.
Yeah,
Okay.
he'd be a cool role.
He looks exactly like fucking Neymar.
Exactly.
You get the
He looks
idea, right?
exactly
Gorgeous.
like him, like he would be Prince.
The
Namor.
Namor. Like,
Yeah. See, mine was that kid that came out in the Fast and the Furious franchise, the Asian dude. He came out in the first movie.
Wong, not
The
Wong.
Asian guy from
oh
Fast and
yes,
Furious.
yeah, we were talking about it. He came out in Man with the Iron Fist.
Iron Fist,
right?
man with the Iron
Yeah.
Fist. He was the guy with the blades on his body.
Yeah.
Do you remember that dude, the son?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie, Brian?
What's
the Man
that?
with the Iron Fist with RZA?
Yeah.
He was the
I
guy
haven't
he
seen that
helps
movie
with all the
in years
blades.
though.
Yeah.
He's just this really like a tall, nice built Asian looking guy.
Okay.
Like that's it. Is it because I think
Narc
but
on
I
me.
can literally
They narc
find
on nobody.
and the reason why is because I can literally find pictures of Namor looking exactly like him or that Luke Evans guy. It's a little bit different to find him looking like this other guy. Do
Luke
I
Evans,
want proper
Luke
representation?
Evans
What's
would
up,
have been
Jeremy? How you
perfect
doing?
cast.
Do I want proper representation for Hispanics? Yes, but I don't want it to be where they just make a Manuel Lopez into Nova.
So then, what would be your perfect spot for representation in the MCU? If it's not gonna be Atlantis and Prince Namor, then what would
Chispiritu. No, I'm just kidding. There's this guy Chispiritu, man, which is like this like red. He's like this guy that wears like a red costume with a yellow hammer. Like, but he's like it's really like he's like a novella, like a story character from Mexico. He's like really funny in Mexico, but there is several characters that are Hispanic in the Marvel universe that they could really dwell on. They've already brought out one of them, which is Bobby Acosta. They brought him out in the New Mutants movie, but the thing is a lot of people don't know that these people are Hispanic because they're not drawn Hispanic. They're not drawn because in comic books, the color, like the coloring was either you had strong colors, there was no in-betweens. So they were either drawn white, they were drawn red, brown, solid black, green. Like even in the idea of them creating the Hulk in the original, he was gray because they couldn't get that color of green, that light green. So he was either going to be super, super dark green or just like an offset color, and they just chose to go gray. So a lot of the times you didn't get a lot of these characters. Nowadays, of course you do.
Yeah.
But there's not very established. There's not a lot of Hispanic developed characters. They're coming out now, which is good. But it's like I've said before, me as a reader of comic books, I never looked at the sense of race or anything like that because I needed representation. When I looked at comic books, I wanted to be the Hulk. I'm not going to be green. You know, when I wanted to be Superman, I wasn't going to be a Kryptonian dude. Like, yeah, he's drawn as a white man with blue eyes, but black hair, not blonde, like most characters that are of Anglo background, you know, but I think it's the reason why they drew him like that was because the Superman character was supposed to be this like just all American kid. He wasn't supposed to be of like an Anglo specific race. Like he was just supposed to be this dude. That's why he didn't have like, yeah, he had colored eyes, but he had black hair instead. It's very, very weird. Just, I know it kind of doesn't make sense, but like they didn't pull back on making Captain America blonde hair, blue eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was roughly around the same time. Like, yeah, after Superman, but you know what I mean? Even Batman, like Batman, you could take him to be an Italian dude. You could take him to be like a dude from, I don't know, like Yugoslavia or some shit where like guys are Anglo, but they have like dark hair. Like you didn't have to associate him as just being a white man. So like, it was very, very hard. But then again, it's like when they created Black Panther, right? Black Panther was written by a bunch of white guys. Originally was created by a bunch of white guys. And then, yeah, like they wanted to take the idea of the Black Panther and be like, hey, well, we need more white representation in that thing. So they made the KKK fight him and shit. They fucking made him fight racists. Like, but then again, it's like I've always said before, you, Brian, you have better representation at this situation. You can answer this question better than all of us. When you see a person of color on screen, would you rather have them fighting intergalactic villains and being heroes in a superhero film, or do you want them fighting racism?
Can I get both?
Well, of course, you're gonna get both. Yeah, you're gonna get both.
Can he be intergalactic racist? Then yeah, I'll take that.
Intergalactic racist. I like that. That was good.
But I mean,
right?
honestly, for a superhero, If we're gonna keep it in the realm of superhero, I'd probably rather see the superhero fight intergalactic.
Yeah, man, you just want to see him doing his thing as
I
a
want to see him
hero.
doing this thing.
Yeah, man. That's what I feel is missing nowadays from comics.
Mhm.
Is that they don't just let him fight villains anymore. They always have to bring in this weird, like, oh, hey, well, he took my milk and cookies. It's relatable. We
Yep.
talked about that, like with that Joker, right? With the Joker thing, where
Yeah.
they made the Joker relatable, and it takes away the fear of him being this like urban legend villain, where he's just crazy as fuck, and you don't know how to read him.
Yeah.
If you make him relatable, people are like, oh, I feel bad for him, or oh, I do this and that, and it's like, damn, dude, like.
But not
you
even
know-
that though. Like, where's the escape then? Right? We read comics to get away
Mhm.
from everyday life. If I'm reading a comic and it's all about the same shit that I can just turn on the news,
Where's the escape?
Where's the escape?
That's a
You
really,
don't-
really
you,
good point.
you don't get away from it. You're surrounded by it at that point, and there's no hope.
That's absolutely correct.
At that point, then the racism and everything that comes along with it has bled or bleed. It's soaked its way into every fabric of you at that point. So I wouldn't want to see it in my comics. I
Because,
mean,
like,
I
in the
don't
sense
mind it
of
a little bit, but just
in the sense of representation and the idea of us not being properly represented in the last, comic books have been around since the 50s, 40s, because Captain America came out during World War II. Even before that, I mean, how would it be that all of us are comic book fans in a way if we were never proper represented? Like, how are we fans of it if we've never been represented? It's because we don't read it for representation. It's like you said, we read it for escape. And we all kind of, like, right now, I can ask Trigger, just like you could probably ask me, and we know comic books pretty fairly well. Who's our favorite Hispanic comic book character? And then compare that character to who our favorite in general character is. And I guarantee the Hispanic guy's not going to come close. Because there's just certain people that you read just because their stories are more enticing. It's like, who would technically be your favorite comic character, Brian?
Wolverine.
Why is it not the Black Panther?
Because again, I wasn't, and just like you said, I personally wasn't looking for representation. Like, I love Black Panther, and I love what he stands for. I love what I love what that movie did for my culture. I really did. Like, I don't really get to see too much unity on display from Black people and from my culture. So to see that was amazing. But as a kid, dude, you give me a fucking X-Men comic where Wolverine is talking shit and he's going in, or Weapon X comic, or just anything Wolverine, I'm all for it, dude.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
And that's the thing, is because it wasn't the fact that we were needing representation. We were just needing heroes.
Yeah.
We're just needing heroes. And that's what I love about comic books. That's my escape. And this is like, me and Trigger, we talked about this a while back on the show, is our world, how our reality has passed the silver age of comic books. And now we have all of these comic books that are like super vulgar, movies and TV shows that are like vulgar. And all the comic books have to relate to people. And it's not just about heroes and villains anymore. So, yeah, it's a super crazy concept. Trigger, who's your favorite comic character?
Iron Man.
Iron Man, straight up. Why?
Because I relate a lot with Iron Man, not in like an engineering or a
Genius
like
billionaire.
intelligence, way, but a lot of his struggles that he's been with, a lot of his addictions, a lot of his vices, a lot of his decisions that he felt were right at the time, I agreed with, or the things that he did, I could see myself doing if I was put in his position. And I just happen to relate to the character because he makes a lot of tough decisions for what he believes is the right thing, and when he gets shit for it, he doesn't back down. He's like, I made this decision because I felt that it was right.
That's a form of representation.
Yeah.
That's
but he's not a man. But this isn't Anthony Stark. I'm not getting Antonio Stark. I'm getting Anthony Edward Stark.
Yeah. So
Shit.
this is a question
like
for
this.
Trigger, because you're in the situation with me. Like, do you feel like Marvel needs more Hispanic superheroes?
I would like to see it, but I don't need it.
And
No.
this is a question for both of you. Knowing that there's superheroes represented in the United States on comic books, and then seeing like with the popularity of the comic book that came out, which was called Agents of Atlas, do you feel that maybe they're just not written about, but there are superheroes like in those cultures around the world that the comics just aren't talking about?
I'll go first. So I know when I was younger, I only knew the comic books that were available to me, right? And so at that point, I am at their mercy as to what I'm reading and what is being fed to me. Now that I'm older, if I want to read something that is for me, quote unquote, I know where to get that. There are plenty of um black superheroes that are created every day that if I want representation, I can find representation. Like I don't need Marvel or DC to give me that. Like I can go find that. So
Elsewhere.
elsewhere. And then that will be my fulfillment of that void if I felt as though I was lacking that. So no, I mean I don't feel any pressure. I don't feel like I need it because if I wanted it, I would go find it. It's out there. It's all out there. There's new creators every day that are creating new comics for that specific reason. And I will be able to do my due diligence and go and find that.
Nice. Good call. Good call. Well, guys, this goes for anybody out in the comment section. If there is a character out there that you want people to check out, put them out there. If representation is important to you and you're in the Hispanic culture, recently in the comic books, there has been a character that was brought out in the Champions comic book. Her name is Red Locust. That is this character. If you guys ever want, check her out. Fernanda Rodriguez, I think her name is. She's a speed character. She's super cute. Um, yeah, man, you guys go check her out. She's a pretty cool character nonetheless. They brought her out recently with the all new, all different Marvel. She's literally based on Chispiritu, which is that character I was telling you about. Her costume is red and yellow. Uh, and yeah, it's just one of those things, like a nice little homage. She's made by she was created and inspired by Humberto Ramos, who's a really, really great artist out of Marvel. You guys want to go check him out? He drew a lot for Spectacular Spider-Man.
Heck yeah.
But
Great
yeah,
story.
he draws super great. He's like a very manga-esque character. His Spider-Man looked a lot more like Andrew Garfield than a lot of different characters. It's super crazy how they looked. But yeah, what did you guys think overall of the Marvel What If, and where do you think it's going to go from here on, man?
I think it's probably going to end with.
We got 2 more episodes.
I think it's probably going to end with the with the
Ultron.
No, with the Battle of New York retold.
Okay, like the first Avengers film. Okay, but it's going to be based with Ultron.
Probably.
Do you think? Really quick question for both of you. Do you think that this Ultron is a multi-dimensional Ultron, or do you think he's from that universe?
I know. I think he's a multi-dimensional. Personally, I think he is going to ultimately be the big bad of this series.
Okay.
I think he's going to be the big bad, and that Battle of New York is going to be a mashup of all of the superheroes that we've seen so far in the What If series. Because I've already seen, there's already a trailer or promo for episode 8, and it has the dark Doctor Strange talking to Party Thor.
Oh yeah. I think I've seen that before.
So that whole Avengers lineup is going to be a mashup of all of the superheroes that we've seen so far. There is an episode. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there is an episode 8 promo that is playing right now, and it shows Doctor Strange, the evil Doctor Strange, and Party Thor having a conversation.
Yeah, having a conversation.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I've even seen him driving a Hyundai. Did you see the Hyundai episode or the Hyundai trailer?
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
god, that's silly. What is it? I think it's a really good thing, but my biggest concern is I don't know how they're going to play off the idea that the Infinity Stones work in the multi-dimensional realm.
Thank you. I
So,
wanted to say no. I do
yeah,
not think he's
so-
multidimensional
so
because if they're gonna canonically stick to things, then no, he cannot
Yeah, in
be.
the comic books, the gems don't work when you cross dimensions.
Okay.
Like Reed
They
Richards
only work in
found
their
that
native
out in
universe.
one of the comic books. So I don't know how they're going to do that. So that Ultron right then and there would technically need to be a part of
That universe.
that Thor's universe.
So
for
then,
those
so
to
then,
work.
how do you explain the portal? Because Ultron is man-made.
The only
How
way that portal
get
can
through the
happen, and if it's multidimensional like that, is we may be messing with. I don't think it's the Supreme Doctor Strange, but it could be like what's that guy from the Doctor Strange film, Mordo?
Oh, Baron
Okay.
Mordo.
Like a Baron Mordo or one of those characters that's kind of like they've kind of created an amalgamation of their own version of the Avengers, but villains, which is one of the Ultimates comic books. They created that where they created like a whole new team of Avengers villains that come together to fight each other.
Well, they also
to
kind of
fight
did
the-
that during Access as well.
Yeah,
when,
Access and stuff like that.
when the Avengers turned evil and the villains became good guys.
Now it's not out of the realm to have Ultron conquer universes because there's an entire comic book based on it. It's called Ultimatum, I think.
It's the Age of Ultron.
Yeah, the Age of Ultron. But there's another one that was the What If Ultimatum.
Oh,
That was the one that's like it's weird as fuck.
So is Age of Ultron.
Yeah, because in Age of Ultron they stop him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the Ultimatum comics, it's the
Oh,
What If. if
yes
they
and
did it.
no. So
Yeah.
in one
just shoot him into
timeline,
space or
they
some shit.
don't stop him. In another timeline, they do stop him. In another timeline, he never had,
Yeah,
he
stayed
never
home
did
to drink a
anything.
beer.
He was never invented to begin with, and the Avengers were called the Defenders, and there was like a huge civil war happening between Cap and Tony again.
So
And
it's
then,
it's just really awkward because all of these stories do correlate into some type of Nexus event, right?
Mhm.
So right now we have three major Nexus events that have happened. One, zombies. Two,
Zambies.
now Age of Ultron. And then the last one being Ego. Like Ego's about to go get Peter, who's never been trained to be Star-Lord. He's going to simply absorb him and become one of the biggest problems in the universe. Right? So like I think the picture and video you're talking about in that might not be it's going to be New York, like the Battle of New York, but after they're inside Ego. After they've been absorbed into Ego. That's
Okay.
why the sky's like all purplish.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's that weird goo that he had on all the planets. Because that was a real big question in the Marvel universe, the cinematic universe.
Mhm.
Is what happened to Ego's like goo shit that took over that one Dairy Queen area? Like you remember in the Guardians Part 2, like no one ever kind of like bat an eye at that. They were just like, "Ah, whatever."
We even were like, wait, that's not an Avengers level threat.
Yeah, because
Like-
that's something that's like, yo, there's a giant blob like sucking in people, and people died, I'm assuming, because not everybody got away from it, and no one bat an eye. It didn't even come out like in a weird new, because Marvel has a tendency to always like kind of throw little kickbacks. It wasn't like in an article or someone in the news in the background wasn't like, oh, another
What
news
the fuck
in
was
Kentucky.
that blob thing?
Yeah, in Missouri, a giant blob grew out of a plant, and no one ever talked about it. And then, of course, it's never talked about like in a Carol Danvers situation because it was happening on other planets also. So I'm guessing that they did introduce Ego, and you saw at the ending of that one episode, he does get to Peter, and I think in one of the trailers, you could see him like absorbing his power or something like that. Like you could see him light up or some shit like that. So I know that Ego is going to be a big problem too.
We still have an episode where we get to see like the Apocalypse Scarlet what is it? The Apocalypse
Wanda?
Black Widow? No, Black
Yeah.
Widow.
Oh yeah.
So
And
that's why
what I'm talking about. Like, dude, there's a lot
so-
of weird shit that's
yeah,
happening. Like,
and then 2 episodes left.
yeah,
So
dude, that are
there's a
like
lot of
30
shit
minutes
going on.
long.
Yeah.
This Thor episode was like such a waste. Like,
Yeah, dude. Like I
This
could
was
have
this was very filler.
yeah,
it was
you
such
could
a
have just
waste.
gave me the whole episode of how the fuck Ultron got to where he is, dude. You could just gave me that. Right
I would have
there.
rather seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just gave me that, bro.
So, guys, what did you think of the last episode of What If? What did you think of Party Thor? Is this someone you'd want to hang with on a weekend? Guys, let us know in the comments. Guys, if there's anything you want us to cover, make sure you guys hit us up. Tell us in our messages. DM us. Trigger, thank you so much for coming to the show today, man. It's so cool to see you on having a day off and, getting to come on the show. Brian, dude, your setup is looking mighty sick, dude. You set up in such a cool amount of time. That poster came back, and I'm super excited. That poster is amazing, dude. I love that poster in the back. Guys, I want to thank you so much for coming and being a part of the show. It's great having both of you. Dude, our family of the average, our family of the boys is growing. We're getting a lot of brothers, man. Even our boy John Man's somewhere out there too, Trigger. Like that's our fourth brother. One day we'll have a average boys reunion and bring him on. And
well,
Fred
let's see
Word
if we can
boys,
let's see what we can do for Comic-Con or some shit, or
we're trying, man.
Harlingen Fan Convention.
Yeah, because we got a couple conventions coming up. I know Brian, you're kind of out of town, so that's kind of rough. But hopefully this gives you an opportunity to want to go to Comic-Cons a little bit more and go talk to people and do some stuff, man. Absolutely. So we'll make sure that during the con we hit you up with a live feed and let you get to talk to all the people that we're talking to.
Yeah, man, you got to give them the credentials and shit like that.
Yeah, because actually, what's really cool is we have Harlingen Fan Fest, that's our Harlingen Fan Convention that's coming up with our boy Pete Martinez, and he's bringing down Ray Fisher from Cyborg from Justice League. So we're gonna be able to do an interview with him and
the voice of Darkseid.
And he's also bringing Tony Stark's daughter 3000.
Nice.
Yeah, he's bringing down I Love You 3000. She is now roughly about
12,
9-10 years old, maybe even 11. So she's a little bit more coherent to the acting career and the life instead of being a child. She's a little bit on the. So we get to ask her some really cool questions, and there's gonna be a lot of cool actors. And then we got, of course, Anime Fiesta's coming up.
I'm really curious. I'm really curious as to like how we're gonna go about, or if we're gonna be able to go about, interviewing some of these people. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would love to interview every single one of them, right?
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna actually have a meeting with Michael and what's her face and Sunada Margaret tomorrow. No, Ray Porter. Oh no, you're talking about the voice of Batman. He's talking about the voice of Batman. He's one of the guys that pulled out. So did the Darkseid, the guy that was playing Darkseid in the Justice League movie.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be coming down, but they both pulled out because of some scheduling issues. But Cyborg's still coming, and so is Jay Garrett's Flash.
For sure want to fucking talk to him, dude.
Yeah, the older Jay Garrett. To him.
Yeah,
so that'll be.
Dude, I mean, I remember watching the movie when I was a kid, bro.
Oh yeah,
I gotta fucking
Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, we want to say thank you so much for tuning into the show. We appreciate you guys so much. Me personally, I'm going to be out at United Collectors Expo tomorrow. So if you guys want to stop by, come check us out. We're going to be there with our cool little booth. We'll have to bring Brian down sooner for all this crazy excitement. If not, maybe we'll take a trip one day up to Jersey and go visit you, man.
I've never been out there. Love that.
It's been a dream of mine to go to New York. I've never seen that part of the United States. So
I have, but yeah, man, we definitely need to.
I've been down this side. I've been down the middle. I've never been down the East Coast.
Guys would love it out here. Well, Trigger said he's already been here, but you would love it out here.
I've never been to Jersey. I think the furthest west, like that way, that I've been is Queens.
Okay.
But I've never been to Jersey before.
One day, hopefully, man. One day, hopefully, I get out there. But guys, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Always a pleasure having you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us in the comments. We appreciate each and every one of you. To our extraordinary listeners, we thank you so much. Don't forget to join us next week here on the Average Boys Podcast, 9 p.m. Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Don't forget to catch us on Spotify and all your other podcasting channels. Don't forget to check out Gym Class Majors also. That'll be
absolutely
our boy Brian's podcast with D Vargas. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you guys again next Friday here on the Average Boys Podcast, 9 p.m. We'll see you all. Have a good weekend. Love each other. We'll see you next week. Later.
Peace.